Good evening. Good evening, everyone. This is a meeting of the Southfield Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered as a community meeting. There are 2 opportunities for public participation during the meeting, and comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. The board will listen to comments but may not respond during the meeting. If you wish to address the board, please submit a comment card immediately. Roll call, Ashanti Bland, Board President.
Yvette Ware Duvall, good evening, Vice President.
Amani Johnson, Board Treasurer.
Darrell B. Joyce, Trustee.
Julian Holloway, trustee.
Talisha Bell, trustee.
And please note for the minutes that our Board Secretary, Leslie Love Smith Thomas, is running late due to the beautiful storm outside. But she will be joining us. May we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, Dr. Green, did you want a roll call?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
I am here. Dr. Jennifer Green, Superintendent. Taking minutes this evening is Ms. Carolyn Foster. M1 Studios is providing technical support. We are also joined by many members of our instructional infrastructure team, our CAO, our Deputy Sue, and our CFO, for the record, is downstairs working on our budget amendment and will come up if needed later in the board meeting.
Thank you.
And thank you to Officer Meyer.
I was
for
just
being
about to
here
say that.
also.
May we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And I must state before public participation that both of our board reps did walk across the stage on Friday. Many people in the room were there, and it was awesome sharing that day with you all. Wasn't it a beautiful day? So congratulations to them both. Public participation. If you wish to address the board regarding a school-related issue that has not yet been resolved by school administration, please submit a comment card immediately. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are not to mention any persons by name. Complaints concerning employees pursuant to Board Policy 9130 should be brought to the attention of school principals or other administrators before coming to the Board of Education. Your cooperation is appreciated. Tell me your name. I'm sorry. I can't. Sires. Ms. Sires.
Good evening.
I'm Charnay Sires. I'm here again. Unfortunately, my complaints and things that I brought to the board on the last 2 or 3 board meetings have not even been addressed, not even at all. Most lately, my children were disenrolled from the school by the person who does that. Not at my request. I didn't sign any paperwork, and she took 3 weeks to get my kids back in school because I made a complaint concerning the bus drivers holding I have 2 sets of twins, my 4 children who are 7 and 9 on the bus at the gas station, for an hour. Told them that she had all day and night, didn't contact me or anything, and I get all of these messages from the communications person, but nothing is ever useful, especially to day when it comes to the safety and well-being of the kids, like concerning the fires. Everybody knew we had these fires going on. We got a message at the last hour about how we're gonna keep our kids safe from this thing, which is emergent and going on right now. I'm not pleased at all because then when I went to get my kids re-enrolled, I got some pushback from the new deputy superintendent, who was the person who I made the complaint against originally, and it has never been addressed. The teacher never apologized to my student for antagonizing her with her classroom. It's just really sad, and I really would like to hear back from the superintendent. I've requested many meetings. I don't know what to do. Again, I've had to come up to the office. They had me standing outside for an hour. They had me request the officer to come in there to get my kids re-enrolled, and I had to call the mayor's office ultimately, in order for the district to act like they have some kind of decorum, but they have retaliated against me. They contacted Child Protective Services when I made a complaint against the teacher grabbing on my student. They have been a total disturbance to my students' school life. They have no cares about that. It seems to me that their concern is the ratings more so than the pupils and the academics. I hear things like people having keys to the buildings who no longer work here, and you guys are speaking of keeping the buildings safe. You can start by, just simple things that are common sense, like communication, letting parents know where their children are while they're supposed to be in your care. If I'm sitting at the bus stop waiting on my kids, I expect them to be there at a certain time. When they're not there, I go into a panic and I contact the police like I had to do and file kidnapping charges on the bus driver. It's unfortunate that the district is not supporting the staff members that work here enough so that parents don't have to take it into their own hands to do what's necessary to keep their kids safe, because you're so concerned about all of these insignificant things that have nothing to do with the pupils.
Thank you. So board matters. We have a few board matters. We have a couple of things that I will address, but I will ask the trustees if they have any board matters to address first. Trustees? Yes, sir.
Is this now time for the report?
You want him to give his financial report?
When the treasurer.
We'll do the financial report. Anyone else? Hearing none. Okay, so over the last year, I think that I have spoken about potentially starting a uniformed dress code. I've spoken to many of the building leaders, parents, just inquiring about how our community would feel if we decided to reinstate a uniformed dress code. And quite frankly, everyone I talked to said, please do. I've heard from parents it would make it easier on them, especially parents of the middle school and the high schoolers. I heard from teachers it would help them to enforce the dress code a little easier, and also from principals that it would be a weight lifted. And I do recognize that in this climate, it is difficult sometimes to address what some of our students feel is deemed okay. And to tell them that it's not, we're stifling their creativity, their artistry. But sometimes their clothes can be a distraction if we're just going to keep it plain and simple. So we will be bringing a uniform dress code back for the 23-24 school year, and that information will go out to the community very soon. Within the next 2 weeks, giving some guidelines as to what that will look like. Just to give an example, we're talking about the standard stuff, right? Collared shirts, the polos, khakis in any color, quite frankly, blue, black, khaki, white if your kids can take it, gray for the young ladies and for the gentlemen if pink suits them. But we're just asking for skirts and dresses to have the fingertip rule, right? If it's above your fingertips, you can't wear it to school. Cardigans, and we're asking that kids wear their school colors. And then if they want to exchange that with white or black, so be it. It's not going to be a requirement to wear your school colors, but we thought that that would bring about some school pride in the district. Dr. Green will have more information on that to come, but I did want to bring that to everyone's attention, considering I have been speaking about it for probably the last year and a half. There's also a piece about technology.
Did you still want her to pull up that document?
Would you please? So Ms. Foster is going to pull and present some things on the screen regarding our Chromebooks, and some other things that we have talked about. So over the last couple of weeks, Dr. Green has met with our technology team, and we have seen some pictures of Chromebooks that have been absolutely destroyed. And I don't know an easy way to put it.
Malicious intent.
I don't see how some of these things could be an accident. Like, it literally looks like they just put it outside of a trucking stop and let them have it their way, in all honesty. To date, I believe we spent over $30,000 just on screen repairs. That's crazy for a district to spend $30,000 just on screen repairs. Considering that these will stay with your children for their matriculation, we will want to treat them in a way that they can be used for their full round. And I get things happen, but we are asking, and we will be implementing a new technology policy and some guidelines. As you can see, the district is experiencing a very high volume of broken screens. Second to broken screens are requests for chargers due to the original being lost. This past school year, the district spent roughly $30,000 on replacement screens. These screen repairs are done by Oakland Schools technology team in the district, and they're approximately $75 each. The high cost is because our devices are touch screens. So we will be proposing some next steps. It will look as if, for those of you who purchase the insurance on your cell phones, when the insurance company sends you that big packet and it says allowable up to this diameter, these many inches, it tells you what reasonable wear is. And we will be asking that families will replace their own Chromebook. They will have to pay for it. We have not worked out the whole community pass, how exactly they can pay for it, if they want to put money on that community pass account to pay for it. But this will also be implemented in the next school year. So I just wanted to make everyone aware that this will be coming as well. And we will get that information out within the next couple of weeks. And to the trustees, I am asking that we potentially amend our policy, our technology policy, to represent what we will be sending out as well. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that for the next study session. That's going to be something that we will be looking to adopt. Last but not least, the student parent handbook. We have a student code of conduct. We have a student handbook. It seems necessary that we issue a parent handbook as well. And this is just so that the students and the parents both have a responsibility and accountability to govern themselves accordingly when they're on our property, and to treat our teachers right, and to treat each other right. Many of us have witnessed parents having altercations in the school, in the parking lots. It's unacceptable. Our staff doesn't deserve to be berated, and neither do our bus drivers or any of our third-party vendors. It's not acceptable, and quite frankly, I don't know how we can expect our students to uphold a code of conduct when their parents don't. So Dr. Green has spoken with Neola. They have a version out that we will amend. Oh, it is on the screen. We will amend it to fit our needs, and this will be rolling out as well for the 23-24 school year. As far as how parents sign off, things like that, we've spoken about MyStar. We're asking that this be the first thing that is spoken about, along with the dress code and technology at open houses, curriculum nights. We will be speaking about it at our back-to-school fair. So this will be a full rollout. So I just wanted to make sure that, seeing as though this is our last regular board meeting before August, I wanted to make sure that we at least addressed this and brought it to light, so our community knows what's to come. Trustees, did anyone have any additional comments or questions regarding any of these board matters? Hearing.
Yes, President Bland. The dress code, is that for all grades?
That is for all students in Southfield Public Schools, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? My last board matter is just to say thank you to this amazing group of people who pulled off a retirement celebration and a graduation in like 3 days. Let me say, this room looked nothing like it did last week. It was really a beautiful event, and I just want to say thanks to everyone who came and participated, to those who retired and moved on. We wish you well. We hope you come back and see us sometime. Also about graduation, it was seamless. It really and truly was. My son graduated at 19, so I've been to quite a few graduations. I walked across that same stage a long time ago. And I just want to say thank you, Phil, your team, Dr. Green, to the EDN, to everyone who put up with us taking 18,000 pictures, to the choir, to the band. I mean, it really was an amazing event. And to the trustees, thank you all. I think we had a good time. It was really nice seeing everyone there, and I just wanted to give this district their kudos. You pulled off a really wonderful range of events last week, and I know we had 8th grade promotion at University today and MacArthur. Thompson, Stevenson will be having 5th grade, kindergarten. Adler, I mean, every single one of these schools has something going on. And I just would like to say you guys have done an amazing job this school year. So thank you.
Board President, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
It's also important to note, special thanks to our parents for helping us to navigate the students to that point. We had, from our comprehensive high school, over 95% of our seniors graduate on time, and from our University High School Academy, 100% of the students graduated on time. So that is no small task, and with the partnership from our parents, we're quite pleased that we were able to accomplish that. So again, congratulations to everyone who played a very important part in getting our students there.
And thank you to Auburn Williams and Ecclesia Construction, and also our partner, Ms. Darna Stallings, for bestowing over $7,000 worth of.
Oh, no, this year we were up to $15,000.
$15,000 worth of surprise scholarships to our
The Brenda
scholars.
Perryman Scholarship
Oh,
also. So we were over
yes.
$15,000 in surprise scholarships this year.
So thank you to both of them. Yes, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure everyone is aware of the fact that when you spoke of the dress code, the technology, and the student and parent handbook, that those are subjects that we are talking about collaboratively as a group.
Yes.
We're just not just choosing and making decisions. We're having conversation and thinking about it, because it's something that's necessary. You know, I've been in this district for 34 years, and every now and then, you have to those subjects have to come to the surface, and we have to talk about it, you know, because sometimes, you know, it just takes one or two people and their families to allow things to go too far, and then we gotta reel it back in and get it right, because me, myself, as a mature adult, some of the things I'm seeing, I don't want to see it. I just really, you know, I'm covering my eyes up and like, oh my God. So we really do need to have some conversation, and I know we're doing that as a board in the future. So I just want to let everybody know that that's what we're doing.
For sure.
Okay.
Thank you, trustee. Dr. Green?
Thank you, Board President, and not to respond to any public comments. However, I do wish to remind the trustees that several years ago, you did approve the purchase of an above-ground fuel tank. Therefore, none of our buses are out at gas stations. We do have fueling on site here on campus. So be mindful of that as we hear comments come from the community. We do have our own facilities, and we monitor them closely. That having been said, we have a lot to share with you this evening. Bond updates, I did forward those to you electronically. We are working hard, and while we had the beautiful weather this afternoon, I for one, was excited because I needed to see where the continued roof leaks were over at Eisenhower. So that really helped me in talking with the team and moving that project forward. We are getting photos for you to see the amazing work that is taking place in transforming Eisenhower in preparation to receive the Adler Eagles over there next year. We are really excited to welcome them to their temporary home. I'll call it Verbo or Airbnb for the time being, but it will be something that they will be proud to reside in for the one calendar year while we do the construction on their building. We do have Ms. TJ here this evening, and we have Mr. Dan Anderson here also representing Clamaran Cressa and Barton Mallow. If you had any specific questions for them relative to the updates that you received, please let us know. If not, we will continue forwarding those updates to you on a biweekly basis.
In regards to the above-ground tank,
Yes.
gas tank, are we purchasing gas as a group?
We're part of a consortium, yes.
We're
We
part of
purchase
the
full,
consortium?
we purchase fuel in bulk.
Okay.
We have both diesel and unleaded fuel here on our campus.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Legislative update. I am, and many of my colleagues are very much concerned about what is pending any day with the United States Supreme Court. You may be aware that they have bundled two separate cases that will have a direct impact on our students and our scholars moving forward. Those cases concern affirmative action. One is with Harvard University, one is with UNC, University of North Carolina. Those are going to change the way, depending on the ruling, which is expected any day now, between now and June 30th, it will change the way students apply to go to college. This past week, I had an opportunity to go and serve on the College Board Superintendent's Advisory Committee, and we spent a large portion of our time discussing this and how it will change the way in which students are considered for college. If you think of past experiences, the students took the SAT, they used that as a way to get into college. Now, many of the colleges and universities are saying that the SAT is optional, so students are going to be even more confused now than they were in the past. So we have a subcommittee that will work continuously to try to find ways to assist our children in getting into college versus focusing on the ways in which people are trying to put barriers to them being accepted into colleges and university. So you will hear more from me in the near future. We will continue to put out bulletins to our families, to our counseling staff, and most importantly to our rising seniors, as many of them will have to apply for early decision before October 1st. So we want to make sure that we get ahead of that. There's also a package of labor bills that is scheduled on a state level, scheduled to go before the House tomorrow. If those bills are passed as they currently stand, it will have drastic impact on labor in school districts, some of which the administration does not feel would be beneficial for students, some of which we think the labor force should have had in place for many years. We wish we would have been able to negotiate with the lawmakers and get some of the things enacted that will be beneficial for students as well as beneficial for staff. Unfortunately, as of this late hour, we are hearing that there's an unwillingness to negotiate, and these bills may pass the House tomorrow. That being said, if they do, it may change much of what we do and how we staff our district. So I did want to put that on the radar for the trustees as well. I will keep you posted as those come through the House. Next, the College Board visit that I mentioned. Very excited with all of the changes. As I mentioned to the trustees a few weeks back, I have been appointed one of approximately 30 superintendents nationally to serve on the Advisory Council. What that does is afford us an opportunity to see what is forthcoming and to help prepare our students for the future. The test is moving to that of a digital platform. I have a very short video to share with you all and to share with our public, because this will allow them to help our students get prepared, not when they return in August, but to actually help them prepare for the digital exam while they are out on summer break. So Ms. Foster, if you would, please.
Get ready for the digital PSAT 8-9. Here's how it'll work. Before test day, sign into the Blue Book exam app and head to the Practice and Prepare section. You can explore the tools and features of the app and try a few sample questions in the test preview, or take a full-length practice test. Your school will tell you if you're going to test with your own device or a school-managed device. Either way, make sure your device is fully charged. It'll need to stay on for roughly 3 hours. If you're bringing your own device, we recommend you bring a power cord or portable charger. You'll also need a pencil or pen. Scratch paper will be provided. You'll go through a quick check-in process and the test will be downloaded to your device. The digital PSAT 8-9 has 2 sections, reading and writing, and math. It should take you just over 2 hours to complete, not including breaks. Each section of the test has 2 parts, called modules, and each module is timed separately. You can move back and forth between questions in a module and review your answers until time expires. There will be a break between sections. During the test, you'll have access to a set of tools. On all math questions, you'll find a reference sheet and a calculator. You can also bring an approved calculator. Use the annotation tool to highlight text or leave yourself a note. On multiple choice questions, if you think an answer option is wrong, you can cross it out. And you can mark for review any questions you want to come back to later. Zoom in and out using keyboard shortcuts on laptops or by pinching on tablets. If you have a problem during the test, click the help icon for troubleshooting tips. And you can always raise your hand to ask the proctor for help too. When the test is over, your answers will be submitted automatically. Wait until you see the congratulations screen to close your device. A few weeks after the test, you'll get your scores. You'll see your AP potential, and you can connect with lots of great college and career planning tools. For more information, visit psat.org/digital.
So we're extremely excited about this coming in the fall. Also on that report, you heard them mention that you'll be able to connect with a lot of colleges and universities. So I signed us up for a pilot, anything that gives us the advantage. I'm volunteering our students. The report will have potential career matches based on how they scored. It'll also have those industries that are in high demand in our respective areas. So not something that is in high demand in another country, but really focusing on what is happening at our state level and in our region. And children can begin to explore those based on how they performed on the exam. Most importantly for me is the fact that our students will have an opportunity to practice. When they come back to school in August, the exam happens really fast. It happens in October, and students are really just settling in to school and remembering how to do school after having been out for the summer. This will allow them to have that advantage while they're practicing, and with practice, of course, they say practice leads to perfect. I don't believe there's any such thing as perfect because we can all improve on something. So this will give our students an opportunity to improve on their skill set. Any questions relative to the information that was shared? We do also have a communications package from College Board that we will be able to put on our website. We have sample emails that we can send out with our parents. We have posters. We have a plethora of information that will be forthcoming relative to all these new tools from College Board.
Yes, ma'am.
And you may have mentioned it, Dr. Green. What is the launch for this particular platform?
This is happening this fall, so fall of October 2023.
And it'll be available for the students this summer?
Yes, it is currently available,
It's
so
current.
that's
Okay.
why, I did ask their permission before I rolled it out, because much of what they shared was proprietary, and I don't want to violate the non-disclosure agreement that I signed with them, but this is now available for our students. So for any parents that have rising 8th or 9th graders, I strongly encourage them to go onto the College Board site, and we will have Ms. Cash send this out to all of our rising families of those grade levels. Exciting. Any additional questions? No? Next, but definitely not least, the phenomenal, the amazing, the extremely talented instructional infrastructure team is here to share with you just a smidgen of what they have been working on. And I don't think that smidgen is really in the dictionary, and it's definitely not on the SAT, so don't quote me on that. But I'm just smidgen. I am really excited to share with the community, because we hear so often, again, trustees, you hear from people what we're not doing, and we want to showcase the things that we are doing. So without further ado, Ms. Summer Caldwell Carruthers and the entire instructional infrastructure team, please join us at the podium. It is an all-girl group this evening, all-girl band.
Good evening.
And trustees, you do have a copy of their PowerPoint in your packet this evening. Oh.
Oh, wow.
Good evening, everyone, to the board, superintendent, community. My name is Summer Caldwell Carruthers. I'm the Director of Curriculum, Assessment, and Technology, and I am joined by the wonderful instructional infrastructure team. Who we have up here is Ms. Yvonne Hammond-Taylor, who is the district's math and science supervisor. Ms. Jessica Hines, who is the district's ELA and social studies supervisor. Ms. Holly Snyder, who is the Director of Career Focused Education. Ms. Angela Smith, who's the Interim Director of Intense Student Support Network. Ms. Erin Hughes, who's the Supervisor of ELL and ESL Bilingual Education. And Ms. Paula Licey, who is the Supervisor of Academic Advisement. And we also have Ms. Gwendolyn Whittington, who is the Project Support Coordinator, who help us do everything that we do. And we're going to present to you our curriculum initiatives that we have for the 23-24 school year. Yes, ma'am.
If I may pause you for just a second, I did
Yes.
receive the message, and we have a baby here this evening who we want to bring forward to share her winning submission for Inner Explorer, because I think her bedtime may be a little earlier
Absolutely,
than yours.
Dr.
So
Green.
if you would please allow me that time to bring forward. And Principal Dean is here, her parents are here, Miss Crystal is here, so without further
Absolutely.
ado. Miss Paula, would you like to introduce her since Inner Explorer is your piece?
Sorry. If Crystal Towns and Principal Dean would come up, please, or not.
Mother, you have to call her Mother Dean to get her to come up.
And Ms. Towns is our academic engagement, social emotional learning officer who oversees Inner Explorer in her building. So if you would introduce Gabrielle.
I would like to welcome Miss Gabrielle Gross, if she can come on up. She's actually in the 4th grade, and not only did she register for the essay actually was amongst students across, come on over, Ms. Gross, so they can be able to hear you, across the state of Michigan. So it's not just for Southfield, not just for this region, but for the whole state of Michigan. She's the winner.
That's awesome.
So Ms. Gross will share with you her winning essay. And I really enjoy reading this, but also, too, it's coming from a really embodied place for her, and you will be able to tell from her words on the essay.
A Perfect Mindfulness by Gabrielle Gross. What is mindfulness anyway? Mindfulness is a precious thing. It means paying attention to your feelings, to how your friends and family are feeling, to the things you learn about in school, to your actions, and to playing sports. Mindfulness is really about paying attention to everything right now, or as it happens, noticing it, but not making judgments about it. Mindfulness can help you calm down with difficult things. Mindfulness can also help you pay attention to the world, like hearing beautiful birds sing, really looking at colorful butterflies fluttering their wings, or noticing clouds when they move. It can even help you avoid distractions so you can concentrate better. Every accomplishment starts with the decision to die. Concentrate better. Mindfulness helps me concentrate to get my grades up, to relax from chaos, and to get a moment to myself. One thing I like to do to concentrate is to write my thoughts down in a mindfulness journal. It helps me to forget about everything and just relax to have a moment to myself. Concentrating is a huge part of mindfulness because if you don't feel comfortable, then you lose your concentration and can't concentrate. When you do mindfulness, you can think about being more better than you are before you can feel stronger and feel more sophisticated like I do. When I need mindfulness, I might do things like ball up my fist and feel angry inside and not have a good feeling. I also know when I need mindfulness if I feel sad and my heart feels like it's broken. I know that doing mindfulness will help me a lot more than it already is. If you know that mindfulness is maybe you if you know what mindfulness is, maybe you should write your own essay like me. When I know that I need mindfulness is when you have mixed feelings, feeling mad, sad, angry, uncomfortable, like you need help from a therapist. You can use mindfulness for all of these situations. If I were you and I was having a problem, the best place to go is to inner explore. Remember, happiness doesn't depend on who you are or what you have. It depends solely on what you think. An essential part of this essay is when you do mindfulness, it actually changes our brains and helps us make wise decisions. Brain scientists are really interested in mindfulness, and they are doing a lot of research and finding out that mindfulness is great for our brains. That's why it can make us feel better when times are hard. Once you become a master of mindfulness, you can help others by sharing your superpower and teaching them how to do it. To your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your teachers, and your friends. Thank you for reading and have a great day. Quotes from Master of Mindfulness by John Kabat-Zinn.
They might have questions for you. Absolutely amazing.
So I don't have a question, Gabrielle, but I am thoroughly impressed at how you articulated a universal thing, because everything you named I felt before. So it's not just kids that can relate to what you wrote, it's adults as well. You should be extremely proud of yourself. We're extremely proud of you. You are an ambassador for your school now. I hope you know that. And I think what you did is very wonderful. It shows a maturity and a comfortable feeling that you have within to be so vulnerable to write what you feel. There's a lot of adults that can't do that. So I just want to commend you, and to your parents, great job. You should be proud. And I'm so glad you came. And to Principal Dean, congratulations. This is a testament to the legacy of your very long tenure with Southfield Public Schools and leading Adler.
I just wanted to say that although these are words on the paper, Gabby embodies everything that she says. She is the epitome of mindfulness. Aww. But she earned it honestly from her mom and dad, who again, they walk it. They don't just talk it, they walk it, they model it not only for their 6 children,
Oh, y'all got it.
but for our building as well. They are an amazing family, and we're
They
so
are.
fortunate to have our PTA president and the whole family. They're just great people. And again, she epitomizes every word that she wrote on that paper. Good job.
Good job, Gabby.
Thank you, Ms. Summer, for allowing Gabby to share that with our audience, and knowing that she probably has an earlier bedtime
Absolutely.
than many of us.
And that's why we do what we
Her
do,
mom
because
does.
of Gabby.
And we thank the family for coming out this evening. Okay?
We do what we do because of Gabby and
Absolutely.
students. So absolutely, that was amazing. But again, we are the instructional infrastructure, and we will be discussing the curriculum initiatives for the 2023-2024 school year. So before we go into the curriculum initiatives, we cannot go into there until we start talking about our school improvement, which we call MyKIP, and it's the Michigan Integrated Continuous Improvement Process. And I just want to remind everyone of our goal, because everything that we do is aligned with our MyKIP goal. So our goal is to increase students' social and emotional supports and academic performance by establishing district-wide systems. And so it's so wonderful to hear students like Gabby talk about mindfulness, because that aligns exactly with our district goal. The 3 district-wide systems that we've been working on for the past 3 years is the multi-tier system of support, which you will hear the acronym MTSS, the social emotional learning, SEL competencies, and restorative practice, which Ms. Paula Lysy will speak more about when it comes to her part of the presentation. Another part of our MyKIP is we send out student and staff surveys 2 to 3 times a year. And that gives our instructional team an opportunity to see, to make decisions on different instructional goals. It also gives us an opportunity to see if we need to pivot, if what we're doing is working in the classroom. And so we really study those data points so that we can make sure that we're being effective within the classroom. What's new is the new parent survey that we put out yesterday. All parents received an email just trying to get some feedback on 3 areas. The first area is the social emotional supports. The second area is the academic and extracurricular activities. And the last area is the response to the pandemic, with we're talking about how we utilize our grant monies. And so if you did receive that survey, please make sure that you take it. We received a lot of response. I think we had over 150 responses so far, and it's only been out a day. If you did not receive the email, it is on our website. If you go to www.southfieldk12.org, it pops right up, and you can take the survey. So MTSS, what that is a multi-tier system of support is a comprehensive framework comprised of a collection of research-based strategies. It's basically what we do in the classroom. And so you will hear a lot more information about MTSS. What we did this year is we worked extensively with our principals all year long in conjunction with Oakland Schools to talk about how we're addressing our academic performance, our behavior strategies, and just to create a MTSS guidance book and handbook. And so in the beginning of the year, our teachers will be receiving a MTSS guidance document and handbook based on the work that we did with our principals this year. So for more information about what's going on in the instructional department, there's 2 things you can do. You can look at our SPS Continuity of Learning Plan, which is on our district website, and I put the URL right up there. And it talks about how we're addressing learning loss within our district. It's really extensive. And if you go to the URL on the left-hand side in blue, it'll say SPS Continuity of Learning Plan. Also, the instructional department has a page on the website, which we're updating right now for the updated school year. And it has all the information regarding our curriculum guides. It will have our updated assessment calendar and anything in our instructional department. So families, please look out for that. If you want to know more information, it is on our website, and we're constantly updating our website. And so over the summer, we will have all of our updated materials for the 23-24 school year. For assessments, Dr. Green touched on some of the assessments. I'm so proud. So again, in the fall, we will take our iReady assessments, KA, as we do as usual. We also do NWEA for our 9th through 11th grade. But like Dr. Green said, the digital PSATs and SAT assessments is coming out this fall. And so the fall dates is already, we already selected them. October 10th will be our 11th grade. They will take the PSAT MMSQT. October 11th will be our 10th graders. They will take the PSAT MMSQT. on October 12th, our 8th and 9th graders across the district would take the PSAT 8 and 9. And so as the assessment supervisor, one thing that I've been doing is meeting with our high school team and our 8th grade team so that we can create a plan, because this is new for everyone. So we want to make sure that that we know what we're doing. So one thing we're going to do is create like a guidance for all of our 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grades for all of the new things for the PSATs and the SATs. And we're going to send that home in the fall, and it's also we're going to put on our website. We'll also have the assessment calendar posted by August 1st, 2023. So if you want to know when your students are taking the assessments from kindergarten through 12th grade and what dates that they're taking them and what's the window, it will be on our website. So briefly about technology, everyone should be aware of Schoology. We have Schoology still for grades 3 through 12. Parents, I believe 80% of our parents is already logged into Schoology. However, if you're not logged into Schoology, all you have to do is go to Schoology.com and click on Forgot Password, and you have to use your District MyStar email address. If you use your District MyStar email address, Schoology will email you a password, and then you will have access to your students' classes and grades. Seesaws for grades K2. And one thing that I want to mention is parents, for iReady, all of your learning paths are available over the summer. So your students can continually practice their learning paths over the summer. So please, let them practice. Tell them to get on the computer. They have access. We will not cut off access. And all of the curriculum materials that they have in Clever, they will have access over the summer. If you are having any computer issues over the summer, I did put up the URL, the phone number, and email address that you can contact, and we will be here all summer to help you with any computer issues that you may have. And again, all of our learning materials are still on Clever, and everyone still has access. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Yvonne Hammond-Taylor.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm not good with this little clicker, but we're going to work it out. I am Yvonne Hammond-Taylor. I'm the Math and Science Supervisor for K through 12. So I'm happy to be here to represent our Math and Science Department. Yeah. So when I spoke briefly about this before, but this is our Math and Science. When I came on in 2019, there were several concerns when I came onto the district. So I'm going to go through some concerns with you and then how we're going to address those concerns. So in math, we had low achievement scores, standardized testing. We had gaps in our foundational skills. The current resource we were using is called Everyday Math. So you'll see the EDM up there, that's Everyday Math. Did not provide entry for our struggling learners. And I'm gathering all this information through surveys and input from teachers, parents, students. So just to give you the background on that. Everyday Math required spiraling methods of teaching and learning. And spiral means it has to go in a certain order or it's not effective. Teachers were supplementing heavily to accommodate students' needs, meaning they were pulling from all other resources. Some were outdated. I mean, they were pulling from all other sites that were not maybe supported by the district's needs, but they were trying to meet their students' needs. And then we had minimal growth and mastery after 15 years of using the same current resource. So then we had to look at that resource. So then we go for science. In science, the resource was outdated, we found out, and no longer digitally supported, so we didn't have any digital support. That's, being able to log on to the computer and having that as an additional layer of support. We needed to select a resource which was NGSS, which is the Next Generation Science Standards, which was adopted in 2015. It should have been, our resources should have been aligned and provide the same structure as those standards that were adopted nationwide. So it was phenomena-based instruction, which is more so like a discovery-based instruction, three-dimensional learning. So that wasn't, our current resources were not meeting those needs. We needed to select a unified source to provide consistency in courses. When I say unified source, we were using different tools at different school grade levels, and that was not conducive for what we needed. And there was not enough rigor in our elementary grades to prepare students for the secondary science. And like I said before, we didn't provide the three-dimensional learning K through 12. So these were our concerns. And so this is how we had a plan of attack to address those concerns. So in 2020, we discovered the science resources were outdated, as I stated. The teachers weren't trained in the next generation science standards, which were adopted in 2015. So we switched, there was a shift that we needed to make change, and we brought the NGSX, which is the next generation science experience, to Southfield Public Schools and trained teachers who signed up over the summer to participate. So it's a shift in the pedagogy of science, teaching and instruction and learning. So it's more, like I said, more of a hands-on discovery type teaching that we were supposed to shift to in science. So in 2021, in kindergarten through 5th grade, science began using mystery science to support during our pandemic, so it was a digital support. Meetings began to develop our vision. We provided, like I said, the NGSX training, which was a Summer Learning Institute, and then we also had continued support throughout the school year. We sent teachers to other districts and other learning facilities to learn the NGSX way. And we decided to pilot a highly recommended Open SciEd, which is Open SciEd as an open educational resource. Open educational resource means you're not paying for the knowledge or the instructional tools, but we are paying for our resources like the lab kits and et cetera. So it's three-dimensional learning, provided modules, and purchased lab kits to support the lessons. So in 2021-22, we continue to support our kindergarten through 5th grade with our lab kits and our mystery science. And by doing lab kits, purchasing lab kits with the mystery science, which is a digital like supplementary tool, we made it more of a Common Core area where we can actually enforce the standards or teach the standards in a hands-on kind of way. So the lab kits provided a next layer of rigor to our instruction. And we decided to pilot Open SciEd in the middle school area. In 2021-22, our pilot in Open SciEd did not go as we planned. And we found out that the lessons weren't, and again, we're doing this with surveys, gathering surveys with the teachers and observations with students. The lessons were not as engaging and the lessons were drawn out. The amount of reading required presented a difficult task for students to get the concepts. The amount of writing required on behalf of the students slowed their progress. If a student was absent, it was extremely difficult to get them caught up. Those are things that we noted during the pilot. In 2022, the response to the pilot was, and again, we had survey data. We conducted a CRR team, which is a curriculum resource review team. So we got a team of teachers across the district to research basically our tools and discover what we wanted to go, our next steps, what our next steps would be taking. So during that pilot, or during that research, we decided to pilot Elevate Science for middle school students, Savas Learning Suite for the high school students, and we selected, we had a select few teachers who were actually participating in the Open SciEd high school field test, which was a nationwide field test. So we had 3 teachers that were supporting that. In 2022-23, what we found is Elevate in middle school, the Elevate modules, 100% of the teachers felt that the labs provided the phenomena-based instruction we were looking for. 87.5% feel that Elevate is a better resource than our open, the science instructional needs of the Open SciEd. And 75% strongly agreed to adopt Elevate as our unified science resource. And as so, we will adopt in the high school the continuation, which is the Savas suite. So the recommendation was to adopt the Savas Elevate modules with the lab resources, and that part is important because it provides that hand-on phenomena-based instruction. So that was our science. And for mathematics. So mathematics, we started at a little different level. Like I said, the focus was for science at first and the math in the elementary, in the high school. So in spring 2021, we conducted a secondary review of curriculum tools to review, develop a shared vision and a high quality of math instruction across Southfield Public Schools. So the results ended in a successful adoption of the following curriculum resources. And I kind of skirted around this, but again, all this data was pilots, survey data, and construction and collecting data from the classrooms and our test scores. So we decided to adopt Envision Math by Savas Learning grades 6 through 8. That's our middle school level. We adopted Big Ideas Math 9 through 12, Algebra to Algebra 2, which is by Cengage. I know some people get a little concerned when we don't use the same learning resource all throughout our educational careers, but we are looking for the best tools to meet the needs of our students and our teachers, so this is what we decided. We also decided to continue the support of the pre-calculus and calculus, which is all by Cengage as well. So that's what we adopted in 2021. And over there in the corner is non-negotiables. That was just like some of the work that we kind of did as a team. We used some thinking. We created a shared vision. Some of the important things to note: we wanted more STEM. We wanted more parental involvement. We wanted more digital and print support. So these are all the things that we discussed when we were, determining what would meet our needs as a whole for Southfield Public Schools. So in spring 2022, our curriculum resource review team compared, analyzed, and researched the resources, and we decided now to move to the K-5 math instruction and pilot Envision. So this pilot was a great success, 2022-23, this was this year. So we conducted the Envision Math K-5 pilot, which included 6 of our 7 schools. And when I say 6 of our 7 schools, we had 2 entire schools, which was Adler Elementary and Thompson K-8 to pilot. All teachers and all grade levels piloted it. And when I say pilot, we're trying the resource out, but we were more so doing it as like a pre-adoption, because all the teachers, all the students, all the kids, the parents, everybody had access to this Envision Math, full support. And we had professional development along the way as well. So various grade levels in the 4 additional schools. And when I say various grade levels, you might have seen that your student was in the 2nd grade at McIntyre, and they had a different resource than the other teacher in 2nd grade at McIntyre. That's because one of the teacher was conducting a pilot. So we did see some great gains. Overall, Adler skyrocketed in their iReady scores, top in the district. We had some teachers that were
Surprise.
of the elementary, sorry. I didn't want to throw that out there. But I'm just noting some data, because we do, like I said, we collect data, we collect surveys. So Adler did increase their scores and with their iReady scores. We did compare some of the classrooms the teachers who were using the everyday math, and it could be a testament to just great teaching overall. Sometimes that's the case. But we did collect data to support the growth that we saw within the school. So it was growth in the iReady data. We used classroom observations, and we also used surveys. So the test, the result, overwhelming positive reviews from teachers. I think they were ready for a change. I think they were saying that since I got here in 2019. But this was, we weren't going to just jump at the first thing going, because we've heard that other districts have abandoned everyday math and moved on to something that wasn't conducive for what they needed, and they returned to everyday math. We didn't want that to happen. So this, the result was 100% of the teachers who piloted in grades 1st through 5th fully expect to adopt and promoted adoption of of Envision Math by Savas. 85% overall recommended the adoption of Envision. So when we got down to the 11.5% of teachers who did not recommend were at the kindergarten level. So in the kindergarten level, they were more accustomed, some of them were accustomed to more of a hands-on. Teachers stated that the rigor and the lack of hands-on activities and interactive games for the kindergarten learners were reasons why they didn't fully support Envision. So we are working with them to make sure they have additional supplies, supplemental materials, to make sure that they can provide that same engaging, hands-on, manipulative, and rich instruction that they've been using for the kindergarten. So that was our response to that. And as far as the rigor, we have a different pacing for schools that feel like they need to go faster, or they need to challenge their students more. They have that liberty to go at a faster pace. So the recommendation is to adopt Envision Math K-5 with print and digital support and grade-specific manipulatives. And manipulatives are the hands-on tools. And for Envision support for families, I included, there's a great interactive tool for each lesson. So back in the day, we would get these chapter reviews that you would send home. This is what your student's going to cover. Well, better yet, the Savas Envision, they have an actual video support. We have hands-on activities that go home. It's called the home links. We also have, like I said, video supports and kind of modeling each lesson, not each unit, but each lesson that the teacher, the parent can log on to the system and be able to engage. So this right here is a family engagement. That's a QR code that you can scan and look at later, and it's just walks you through. Oh, and I also passed out this little program. So this, it's available over there. This has,
I'll share.
oh, you share. Well, there's copies over there. So in the upper right-hand corner of this sheet here, there is a little, like maybe 3-minute video that our representative, our Savage representative, created a video just for parents to guide you through that family engagement piece. But on the website, and I put it up there on the family engagement video, she also created like a 6-minute video that goes over everything that you would look for as a parent if you're assisting your student in Envision. So if you had assisted your student in Envision with the pilot this year, you kind of know what you may be a little more familiar with that. But going into next year, hopefully if we get this adopted, we will we will be able to provide the same resource. So she's created a video just for our Southfield Public Schools and our parents to support. So look at that. I'll upload that. I'll ask Alex to upload that on the website. So that's the 6-minute video. But right now here, this QR code, you can get the 3-minute video quick of how to navigate your way through. Okay, and then there's some other resources, but that family engagement piece is really huge that I want to make sure I highlight. And that's created by Siobhan Johnson, our representative for Envision. All right.
So several of our trustees have already used the QR code sitting here and have found that it works quite well.
Give you what? This? Oh, yes, you're parent now. Yay, okay. So I don't know if we're going to hold questions to the end, but if you have any questions, I'm still here for that, and I think that ends my... Oh, my fault? No, I did not. I did not summarize. So my recommendation here, this is all the adoptions and renewals. I just listed all the things that we are using and from K through 12. Okay, just to make sure we are all on the same page. We would like to adopt Envision Math K through 5 with grade-specific manipulatives. We like to renew the Envision Mathematics 6 through 8. We like to renew the Big Ideas Math 9 through 12. We renew Springboard College Board Math, which is University and MacArthur 6 through 12. We would like to renew the IXL Math Digital Supplemental Program, and IXL is a great resource. It is available during the summer as well. It is more of that rote practice, but it's engaging for the student, and it is for, you can do practice for M-STEP, you can practice for grade level content, you can practice for SAT, ACT, ELL tests, everything is on there, but it's for math only. And professional development for the resource, curriculum, tool, alignment, and instruction. So I would like to host a pacing and professional development to make sure that we are adopting and utilizing all of these resources that are presented. And for science, same thing, adopt, elevate science modules with unit-specific lab resources to support the 6 through 8, adopt the Savage Science Suite, digital support and lab support, and pilot elevate science 4 through 5 with lab resources, because we want to make sure our students are prepared for that next level. Renew our mystery science, K through 5 with the mystery lab kits, and again, provide the professional development, make sure we are all NGSS knowledgeable in our instructional tools.
Awesome.
Now that ends my presentation.
Great job.
So I just want to let the community know that Ms. Yvonne actually presented us a lot of this information at our study session, but we knew it was important for the community to hear it. So if you think that we're just not asking questions, we hammered her last month with questions. And so this was pretty much a conversation with the board asking her to present it again, because we heard the concerns that have been lifted over the last few months about curriculum. So we felt it was important that this presentation take place this evening. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Hines. I am the English Language Arts and Social Studies Supervisor for the Great Southfield Public Schools. I will be going over the ELA and social studies for next year, as well as our accomplishments this year. Also, I yielded most of my time to the... She's gonna kill me, but I yield most of my time to the great Yvonne for her presentation, so I didn't skip. Oops, I did skip a slide though. Well, okay. Social studies, we'll go to that. But before we talk about social studies, I want to talk about the great things that happened this year. Each one of our students for Southfield Public Schools received one of these book bags. And in the book bag, it has not only English and social studies materials, but math and science as well as a parent engagement folder. So it has activities, how to get your scholar organized for the upcoming year, and also relevant books that are interest-based as well as grade level appropriate. So each one of our students in Southfield Public Schools received one of these book bags. We wanted to make sure that our students had books in hand for this summer. And talking about this summer, we also had a writing contest. And for our writing contest, we wanted students to talk about the importance of summer learning. And then also engage them in the arts. So students were asked to write an essay as well as draw a picture of how they want to see a t-shirt design for our summer school program. So we did pick a winner. This is our summer school t-shirt that will be given to all our summer school participants. And Jamar Harris from Southfield A&T, 11th grader, designed this t-shirt with his essay on the importance of summer engagement and learning. So I did give each one of you guys, and they're extra big for some room. So going into social studies, we are based on the C3 framework in social studies, which is college, career, and civic life. We want to make sure that our students are engaged in inquiry learning when it comes to social studies. With the political landscape that we all live in now, it's important that all our students know our history and geography, culture, so they are better equipped to be global citizens of this world. So with that, we are renewing the SAVIS K-5 My World Interactive, as well as making sure that this framework is aligned with our curriculum that is housed in Atlas Rubicon. So as Summer did state, we are working diligently to update our website, so parents will have access as well to Atlas Rubicon, as well as curriculum guides at the end of this summer. Am I okay to say that? Okay. I already just said it. So we are making sure that our tools are aligned with our curriculum that we do have. So in making sure that we have updated materials, our 6th, 8th, and 9th grade textbooks will be getting updated, but they are going to be renewed digital licenses, so it will be print as well as digital, as well as all our social studies books will be now current in our social studies department. And that is for social studies. English language arts. With this year was our first implementation of Fontes Pinnell K through 5th grade, as well as Study Sync. We have seen tremendous growth in our students, especially with the ownership of them wanting. I've been going into classrooms, seeing kids just picking up books and just wanting to read. It's fabulous to see how they have embraced these programs. So we are going to go into our 2nd year of implementation with those 2 programs, as well as I am asking to renew Newzella, which is for English language arts, social studies, science, as well as social emotional learning, brain pop, learning A through Z, as well as Edmentum courseware for our high school students. The new adoptions will be for Fontes Pinnell writing mini lessons for our kindergarten through 1st grade students, iReady writing for our 2nd graders through 5th graders, and then Scribble, which will be adopted hopefully for our secondary students. I'm so happy and glad that we had a student from Adler, Gabrielle, to show the importance of writing. That will be our push for next year, to push the writing standards that is from K through 12th grade in our students. with writing, we know that it empowers students, it empowers all of us, as we saw with Gabrielle. So with effective communication in writing, it will help them not only, as Dr. Green pointed out, in the PSAT, but also with just communication through life. So in strengthening those programs, we are going to, those are the new programs that we hope to adopt. So as I said, I yielded most of my time to the great Yvonne Taylor. So I am done with English, Language Arts, and Social Studies.
Thank you, Ms. Hines.
And I'm the new parent of Southfield Public Schools too. So
Good evening. I'm Hallie Snyder, and I'm the Director of Career Focused Education. And I don't have a great voice tonight. Sorry about that. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our new NAF academies. And I'm really excited to talk about how we're changing things up a bit at A&T with some new academies and kind of the direction we're headed in the future. NAF actually stands for the National Academy Foundation. It's an organization, it's a nonprofit organization that was created to help schools create academies. We have, a small group of us have been working on the year of planning with NAF, and we actually celebrated our graduation on May 30th, and that means that we have approved programs for both health sciences and our performing arts. One of the best things about that experience was that we were one of the highest scored academy applications that they've ever had. So, very proud of our team. So how the academies will work is for our 9th graders, they will just come into school as they normally would, take some electives that might be of interest to them, but they will not be part of the academy until 10th grade. In 10th grade, they'll have 1 year of Academy Core classes. And in 11th grade, they'll have that 2nd year of Academy Core classes. And then during their senior year, depending on the route that they're taking, they'll have capstone classes, the opportunity for internships, dual enrollments. Some might attend Oakland School's technical campus to get their CNA certification or Certified Nursing Assistant certification, or work to get other industry certifications. So for our Academy of Health Sciences, which by the way we wrote and received a scholarship for, or a grant for, the $12,000 for the cost of year of planning. We completed that program, and our 10th graders next year will start with our first semester in Health Careers Exploration, which is their first class. And that should sound familiar because we just brought curriculum to you not that long ago for adoption for that class. During the 2nd semester, our 10th graders will be taking Global Health. Then in the 11th grade year, they will have a full year of Anatomy and Physiology. And then in 12th grade, they'll have the opportunity again for internships, dual enrollment, attending the Oakland School's technical campus, or other certifications. And we are working a little bit with Lawrence Tech University. They have a huge health sciences program to try to look at how can we start to maybe pull some certifications into our health sciences academy as well. So as our students get to be seniors, there might be some other opportunities for some certifications directly connected to Lawrence Tech, being such a close partner. We're also hoping that this is going to be more of an overarching health sciences program. So not specifically just for nursing, but for all areas of health science. So if we have a student who's really interested in radiology, or being a neurosurgeon, or dentistry, this would be an opportunity for them to explore those pathways. The Academy Performing Arts will be beginning next year for our rising 10th graders, and there are 4 concentration areas. So we will have dance, and our 10th graders who are interested in dance would take the advanced dance class, drama, and those students would take acting 2, instrumental, and those students would take concert band, and vocal, and those students would take varsity choir. And then you can see the 11th grade classes that students would take depending on their concentration area. And then the senior year, all students would also be in class, but would have capstone projects that they would be involved in, as well as internships and dual enrollment opportunities. So when we talk about A&T and the different types of programs that are available for our students, I think it's a really great time to highlight how many career readiness opportunities there are for students. So we have our new academies and our current academy, the Fire Academy. We have our Academy of Health Sciences, our Academy of Performing Arts with 4 concentrations. Then we have our current career and technical education programs, which are state-approved programs, and they're taught at a college level, and so students can earn free articulated college credit for those classes. And so those are business management, digital multimedia, finance, marketing, networking or Cisco, culinary arts, and radio and TV production. And students do, in many of those programs, earn certifications as well. And then we have a few other career-focused education programs, like graphic design, computer programming, and engineering or mechatronics. And our engineering program, although not a CTE program, and not yet an academy, although we're looking at moving that way, they just received first place for the 2nd year in a row in a student competition on the Innovative Design Challenge, where they created a solar-powered car. And this is the 2nd year in a row we've won first place in that program. Very proud of them. So both computer programming and engineering mechatronics, we're looking at developing those into career and tech ed programs next year, which are great because not only do they offer students a lot of opportunities similar to academies on top of the articulated college credit, they also have a chance to do some student leadership groups, and it provides some funding to the district to help support those programs. So we're really excited about moving forward in that direction too. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Angela Smith.
Excuse me, Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
12th grade internship and dual enrollment. What is dual enrollment consist of?
Dual enrollment is where students can take college classes free of charge. The district pays for those opportunities. So if a student is, let's say that they are interested in dentistry and there's a college class that they could take towards a certification and they've taken our classes, then they would have that opportunity to take that college class. And it can be at any school. So if a student says, I'm going to Wayne State University to do dentistry, that's great. We can find classes that might fit that student's interest area at Wayne State. So again, we're just working as a 10-year plan is, we're working to give kids those extras, right? So they graduate, they come out with a diploma and a certificate and job experience, those types of things. So how do we help give them that next step? Thanks.
Trustee Smith-Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you. I am eating all of this up, by the way, loving all of this. This comment is for our superintendent. As you're looking at the early childhood education vision, there is a CDA for high schoolers that would fit perfectly in the career-focused education track that would help support our high schoolers with gaining skills and credentials to support our busy babies, and just as a greater vision for growing our own in terms of potentially bringing those students back as educators for the district.
Taking note of that.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you. Board President, if I may,
Yes.
as you hear all of the ladies present this evening, you can start to see our vision for the entire bond project in the next 10 years really come to life as we move away from neighborhood schooling or traditional schooling to that of educational pathways. You hear it, and I'm so proud of all of them standing before us this evening.
So my only ask is that we bolster this narrative and we market this information because it's not out there yet. And so as people, speak to us in Meyer and Kroger and talk about what other districts are doing, we can easily say that we have this. The problem is everyone is going to tell us, well, how would we know? So my biggest ask of this team and of our EDN is you got the meat. It is here. Now, the plan to get it out to the public and stretch it far and wide, right? Because people will drive where they know the good stuff is, you know what I'm saying? Especially for their children. So that would be my ask, and that's one of the biggest things that I hear from families that they didn't know. So whatever the plan is to market this district and to get this information out there, I would love to see it as soon as possible, because this is really good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Angela Smith, and I am the Interim Director of ISSN Intense Student Support Network. And so today I am going to speak on a couple of initiatives that the Intense Student Support Network is piloting for the 2023-2024 school year. One of those being co-teaching model. We are super excited to implement the co-teaching model as a form of teaching, a teaching platform to ultimately increase student achievement and learning outcomes. Co-teaching model can be done in a variety of modalities. Southfield A&T is going to roll it out in the area of ELA and math in the fall. And what it will do is it will expose our students with IEPs to the general education curriculum. And in doing so, they will also have the opportunity to learn those things with their non-disabled peers. In addition to that, it will build and foster collaboration amongst those teachers, those general education teachers and those support service teachers, which is what we are ultimately wanting to do. To foster this, we are having a training. There's been 2 soft trainings through the year. Dr. Lois Von Hussein has done the training. She did one on April 19th during one of our professional developments. She also did one yesterday at Southfield A&T during their staff meeting, and she also presented to the school leaders in the buildings during one of our leader meetings. She will have this training June 27th through the 29th, and they will receive a 3-day training. In addition, they will get a chance to take home those 2 books, Leading the Co-Teaching Dance, Leadership Strategies, as well as a guide to co-teaching, new lessons and strategies to facilitate student learning. As I mentioned, Southfield A&T will be implementing this in the fall. Thompson, KA, as well as Stevenson Elementary are also interested in this. The space is limited to 50 participants, and so we are opening it up to anyone in the district who is interested in learning the co-teaching model to attend. In addition to that, with embracing our right-sizing the district, we are leveraging our teachers in an effort to kind of recalibrate our ASD classrooms, our self-contained classrooms. It will turn out that we may possibly have 3 self-contained classrooms ASD at Bernie, and what we're looking to do is turn those 3 K5 classrooms into a 1-2 classroom. I'm sorry, a K1 classroom, a 2-3 classroom, and a 4-5 classroom to increase student outcomes and kind of leverage those teachers for student support. We are super excited about this possibility. Prior to this, I had a meeting yesterday at Thompson, and they asked if they could use this, not knowing that this was happening in Bernie. So Thompson is also trying to create this classroom as well. And so we are super excited. We're still kind of in the planning phase with this, making sure that the numbers are going to align as they need to, but it's an exciting venture, and I'm looking forward to seeing the progress of those students in those type of classes. Lastly, this is a program that we've had for many years throughout Oakland schools. The PAC, the Parental Advisory Committee, which is our parent engagement committee, where we have bi-monthly meetings, the first Wednesdays of every other month. We have an Oakland School PAC representative who attends the Oakland Schools meetings and comes back and delivers that information to us. In addition, those meetings consist of district updates, parent concerns, and resources for our parents. That concludes my portion.
Oh,
Don't leave, Ms. Smith.
yet.
I apologize.
Trustee Smith Thomas.
Yes. First of all, I just so love that, that innovation with the ASD classrooms. What I love the most about it is, to me, it feels like differentiation, acknowledgement, and embracing the fact that there is no one size fits all for students diagnosed with autism, and just really embracing the fact that at those different levels, age level, grade levels, they're experiencing different things, and so their educational experience should be tailored to that. So I truly appreciate that. I'm really excited to hear that and to hear more about that as that continues to unfold. The question I had, can we get the PAC meetings back on
I
our
was just about to
schedule,
ask
please?
that. So she beat me to it. I know Ms. Binion, Ms. Martin in the past have been very active with Dr. Freeman. So if you could get that schedule to Ms. Foster, that she may send it out to all of us, we will definitely engage.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, trustee.
For us non-educators, can you tell me what ASD means?
I'm sorry,
That's
autism
okay.
spectrum disorder.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the trustees? No. Thank you, and thank you for jumping into this role.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Martin Green, and community. The following instructional initiatives will be utilized for the ESL instruction and support throughout the 23-24 school year. Apologies, that would probably help. I've provided a bulleted list of some of the current initiatives and a few more things that I would want to reinstate. As you know, my role had an 8-month pause, and so I am currently rebuilding upon the foundation of 2 very excellent leaders prior to me. So a lot of our ELA and reading programs for the elementary are based on Fontes and Pinnell. The Fontes and Pinnell reading program will provide English, reading, and ELA instruction for the K through 8 EL students. The Read 180 program is used at the high school at A&T, and we are looking to possibly pilot it eventually at the middle school, but I'm talking with my staff about that at this time. The Read 180 program will continue to provide reading fluency, ELA, and English instruction for the 9 through 12 students. It is a very good program. I've used it in the past in my career. My students jumped up quite a bit, so it's something I'm quite interested in. National Geographic text, we use National Geographic Edge for the high school, and we use National Geographic Inside for the middle school. These are ELA-based texts. They are content-driven. I have used them quite a bit in the past as well. They are strong in ELA, reading, vocab, and generalized English acquisition. EL parent support nights and book borrowing from the EL department library will be offered to improve reading literacy at home. I'm going to pick that back up. I have many books in my office at SEC that I want to loan out to parents, as I would like to try to get about monthly meetings, or about 5 or so, and we'll see how that fits into the schedule. What I'd also like to reinstate is ESL online and in-person tutoring after school for K through 12 EL students. We usually have budget for that within Section 41 in Title III, so that's something I would like to reinstate next year. From previously, what was recommended and approved was Study Island and Reading Eggs. This is a newer program, but it's been used in the past in the district to provide supplemental instruction in literacy and English acquisition for K through 8 EL students. Brain Pop ELL was also approved. It is for supplemental instruction for K through 8 EL students. We'll also continue RADS Kids as it provides reading and ELA instruction for middle school and elementary school students. This year, I had replaced, previously, for several years, we had a EL para complete the role of instruction for the non-magnet students. I did, during this time, we had a worker shortage, and we have a desperate need for Spanish, and so I was able to hire a teacher. We replaced that position with a 1.0 feet ESL teacher. She worked on her master's. Her name is Ms. Pulte. She is excellent, and she provides supplemental support to our non-magnet EL students, and she speaks Spanish, which has been a godsend. I want to do best practice modules. Those are generally on WIDA. Sometimes they're SIOP. There are many modules that are self-paced that we use. I want to also get some additional classroom libraries. That was already previously approved by the state for carryover. So for EL and general education teachers that have EL students, to provide engaging reading material for them. Sometimes with middle school students or even high school students, they're beginning newcomers and they don't have they're learning how to read at this time, and then they're given these baby books or these elementary level books. And even fifth graders and fourth graders, they don't want the little kid books, they want the big kid books. So there is more out there now, and that is available for EL students that is high engagement. I also want to put on some PDs for best instructional practices for EL students for my staff to help improve instruction for reading, writing, speaking, and listening domains. Thank you very much. This concludes my part of the presentation. I greatly appreciate your time.
Just for the knowledge of the board, could you tell us all what WIDA and SIOP stand for, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
WIDA,
WIDA changed they're no longer using the full name, but it is the assessment that is administered to all EL students, which are our English language learners, and SIOP is Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol.
Yeah.
Does it still take place at KLC?
That's where her office is located, but it occurs throughout the district.
Okay.
Particularly in the schools where we have a larger concentration.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. Vandenberg and Thompson.
You have something? Sure.
Yes, I have a question. Through the chair, through the superintendent, I'm going to ask directly to our staff. I see the parent literacy support nights here, which is great. My question is, are any of these resources, specifically the ESL online materials, are any of them geared towards supporting families, or do we have additional licenses that are provided so that families can take advantage of them as well?
All of the electronic or the licenses that we have, the Brain Pop, the RAS kits, etc., all of those are available to our families and for student use at home. So is there a family engagement module that goes along with any of them?
Sometimes there is. I can look around for some specifics.
Okay. And then we'll get those out to the families as well. But students do have access to all of the electronic resources that we have in the EO department any given day and throughout the summer as well. We made sure that there was a family engagement piece. I think is something that's very
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Miss Mindfulness herself.
The light of lightsy. Oh, where's mine?
The light of light. Oh, I didn't do that.
The light of lightsy. Yes.
So in the basket on the table are galaxy balls, that they're really stress balls. And I'd invite everyone to take one.
Or two.
Or two. Or three, depending on what's happening at the time.
As superintendent, it's a little stressful.
And part of the reason we use the stress balls. I mean, some people just call them squeezy balls, but I call them stress balls, is to help regulate your breath. And so if you would squeeze your galaxy ball and take a deep breath, and then pause, and then release it and exhale. And do that 3 times, and then just notice the transition of your breathing and your body and the sensations you may be feeling. All right, thank you.
No, thank you.
Because we've received a lot of information tonight, a lot. So social emotional learning, better known as SEL. Everything we say and do leads us to social emotional learning, academics, and mindfulness. And when Ms. Summer started this evening, she talked about the MyKIP goal. Everything we do leads back to the MyKIP goal. We're not doing anything without intentionality. Individuals with strong social emotional skills are better equipped to manage daily challenges, build positive relationships, and make informed decisions. That's our goal. That's really our goal. There are several initiatives that we'd like to push forward, and we're not asking for money because we go out and find grants. Oh my God. See, and this is what happens when you squeeze them too hard. Don't worry. So restorative practice. Thank you very much.
Turn it into a STEM experiment.
Real world. Real world.
History science.
So restorative practice. So this year, oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Ms. Myers. We were able to train 34 staff members throughout the district in the methods of restorative practice. And now we're moving to train the trainer so that it is in each building. So every adult's going to learn how to process through difficult behavior, managing relationship skills, helping students and staff walk through difficult situations. And then Navigate 360. We're actively using this program at this time. Some buildings use it for their Tier 2 programs and others for their Tier 1 program. And it is aligned to our 5 competencies from CASEL, which are self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, decision-making skills, and positive relationships. So these lessons are used during seminar or in elementary schools. They may be used in any of the classes where there's a lesson and then a discussion. Then Inner Explorer, the young lady Gabby tonight, she entered the contest through Inner Explorer, and we've been using Inner Explorer in the district for several years. And so the goal of Inner Explorer, it's a technology platform, really a click and play. You don't have to do anything but download, click and play. And daily practices to impact growth from inside out. It is a phenomenal program. On the next slide, there's a slide, I think it's the next one. I entered the link where you can go on and sign up as an educator, a parent, or a caregiver. And there's a 21-day challenge. The modules are so quick and easy. With daily practice of 5 to 10 minutes, it can change your state of mind. It gives you a tool, so instead of flipping your lid, it gives you tools to maintain peace and calm. So try it out. It also teaches students and adults about kindness and compassion, which we need more of that in no matter what we do. Earlier, the parent talked about the transportation, and I had an incident with a bus driver. He wouldn't let me out of my parking space because I was trying to get out, and it was like 2:30, and I know that wasn't right, but I needed to go. And he wouldn't let me out, and I said to him, I said, imagine if you spoke to me through a lens of kindness and compassion. Might you rethink your decision to let me out? I don't think he knew what to do with that. But guess what? He backed up and he let me out because he didn't need to block me in. But sometimes you just got to shift your lens or shift the way you think. So please join Inner Explorer. Use it daily. You'll be amazed of the impact. Then mindfulness for teens. MC for me stands for Michigan Collaboration for Mindful Education. And we just completed a 6-week program for teenagers at A&T. And it taught them about kindness and compassion, breath work, how to focus, how to concentrate. It's outstanding. We just did the survey. And to hear a student say, I can focus better now, or I'm sleeping better because they now understand what a body scan is. So it's been beneficial, and of course, we're collecting data. Then Breathe for Change. We have a couple of Breathe for Change graduates here, Miss Bustler and Miss Towns. They went through the program. It's not a weekend program. It's for 10 months. And on their time, they participated in 6-hour sessions on Saturday and Sunday, once a month, with many, many modules. And so they learned about trauma-informed decisions. They learned about yoga. They learned about breathing. They became SEL facilitators. So thank you guys for your willingness to do this. And it's not just for students, it's for adults. And that's the power, because when we change, our students will change. And so we're asking again that our funding, our grant funding, provide opportunity for another 9 staff members. And we don't pick and choose, we invite. And so it could be a classroom teacher, it could be a paraprofessional, it could be a social worker, it could be a counselor, it could be one of you. It's up to you. And then finally, Millennium Forum peer-to-peer coaching, building trust and collaboration. And so this is a forum that small groups come together, and we, again, have 3 members here, Jill Bustler, Crystal Towns, and Ms. Snyder, that just completed the program. And they'll tell you, it teaches you how to communicate, how to build trust. We often hear that part of what is not here is collaboration and trust. And so this is an opportunity for adults to help each other. So it truly is, you bring an issue or concern to your team and you walk through it. And they teach you different ways to walk through it. So it's a powerful program. And again, I find grant money for everything. So thank you for listening. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Summer. And I'm going to take my mess with me.
So as you can see, we live what we say we do for children. We all have a passion for the work that we do, and we really take our data points seriously, and we really take the work that we do seriously. August 8th through the 10th is our Summer Learning Institute for our teachers. And so they have an opportunity to sign up for professional development for all of the things that you heard today. If you have any questions for us, this is our email addresses. We are very responsive. Anything that you need to know, or anything you just want to say hi, here's our email addresses, and we will get back with you. Thank you again for listening to our presentation. We truly appreciate it. And thank you, team. This is an amazing team. I love working with this team. Sorry, what questions do you have for us?
I like to sign up for the mindfulness. You said it could be you, so I want it to be me.
Thank you all. Job well done, and thank you for your commitment to Southfield Public Schools. Board President, if I may do the next two out of order, I'd like to discuss Report 61-107, the Cognia accreditation, and I'd ask Summer to stay at the microphone if she would, to do this in tandem with me. You heard them mention the MyKIP, which is the Michigan Continuous Improvement Process, and a few years ago, the Michigan Department of Education required that all school districts move to the MyKIP model. That's great, and we were compliant with the state, and we are doing an exceptional job with the MyKIP process. However, what the state failed to share with us at that time was that they were not an accreditation arm. So they could not accredit any district through MyKIP. And this was a surprise to all school districts. So when our scholars go off to apply to college and they ask if your school district is accredited or if they assume your school district is accredited, many school districts in the state of Michigan were not. That having been said, Southfield Public Schools was accredited through NCA, then NCA became Advanced Ed, and Advanced Ed is now Cognia. So once we learned that MyKIP was no longer, or could not accredit school districts, we immediately reached out to Cognia and asked them where we were in our accreditation process, and we wanted to resume our accreditation status with them to ensure that there was no break in service or break in accreditation with Cognia or, more importantly, our accreditation for the courses that we teach. That having been said, we are still accredited. It does come with an annual fee. This fee that you see before you today in this report is $15,600, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
And that will cover us through the end of the 2023 school year where we are present day. So we will come before you again for next school year with another invoice for approximately $15,000. But it's extremely important to us and to our scholars that we have this accreditation maintained to ensure that our students are able to take their credits to any colleges and or universities.
Dr. Green, are you asking that Report 61-107 be an actionable item and that we approve this evening?
If it is the appetite of the board, we would be so grateful.
Trustees? It's been properly moved and supported to make 61-107 an action item. Is there any discussion behind making it an action item? Board Secretary, will you please call for the vote?
Trustee Ware Duvall.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce.
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee Holloway.
Yes.
Trustee Bland.
Yes.
Trustee Bilk.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Board Secretary, are we all set, or did you need me to do an open and approve since we just made that actionable? I just want to make sure that my parliamentarian stuff is all set. Are we good?
Okay, you made it actionable.
We made it
This was the
actionable.
vote to make it actionable.
Actionable.
It was not to
Mhm.
open and approve.
Correct.
We need to open and approve it.
Is there a motion on the floor to open and approve action item 61-107?
So moved.
Thank
Support.
you. It's been properly moved and supported. Trustees, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Board Secretary, please call for the vote to approve 61-107.
Trustee Bilk.
Yes.
Trustee Bland.
Yes.
Trustee Holloway.
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee Joyce.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Ware Duvall.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, trustees. Ms. Summer, please pay that bill tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Now we will have the director's report from the Bussey Head Start Director, Dr. Connie Thompson, if you would. And trustees, you should have that presentation in your packet as well.
Good evening, Dr. Green and board and the community.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. That's not right.
Did you provide that presentation?
Is it there? I just turned something off, I think.
Oh, just your director report?
Yes.
Okay.
It may not be loaded for her to present this evening. Board, it is in your packet if you would follow along, if you would hit the highlights for the board and the community. Okay. Do you want a copy of the paper report?
Okay, I'll just start with the enrollment. This is for May 2023. As you know, we were short-staffed this year for the 2022-2023 school year, so we had a lower than usual enrollment. So for the month of May, we had 16 slots for the early Head Start, and we actually had 15 filled, and we had 1 vacancy. For the Head Start program, we had 128 slots, and we had 42 students there. And then for the GSRP, we had 160 slots, which translates into 80 students. And so we had 27 students in the GSRP program. We anticipate having many more. We're actually actively recruiting kids. Our operations manager and 3 family service workers are processing lots of applications. We had an enrollment fair and recruitment fair. We had 82 families to attend. I've been working with the SPS HR department as well as with Elite. Elite, the staffing company that we work with, they've made some changes within their department. So we've been actively interviewing candidates on a weekly basis. So we took 5 staff members for approval to Policy Council this morning. One was Male Involvement Coordinator, which is a new position, which we're really excited about. And then we had 3 associate teachers and then 1 lead teacher. So, and then we have interviews scheduled for tomorrow as well. So we have a number of candidates coming up. So really excited about that. I'm really appreciative of Giselle Hogan's support and working with me as well as Elite. So, but we have parents who are really excited about coming to Bussey. So we are confident that we're going to get the staff that we need to with the support of Central Administration as well as with Elite. Right now, I'm just going to hit the highlights. So we had 2 family engagement events. I already talked about the enrollment fair. We had a transition ceremony for the kids who were transitioning from pre-K to kindergarten. And we had 100 family members, friends who attended the event. So it was a nice turnout. And we had our students do some presentations, and it was just a nice turnout, and to celebrate our students as they transition from Bussey to one of the Southfield Public Schools. Wanted to mention about our disability numbers. We actually, compliance is 6 students, and we actually have 7 students with disabilities or who need support services. So we met that target, and we're excited about that. And then we had 1 new hire in May, and that was 1 family service worker, which has been helpful. We're currently operating a kindergarten boot camp and a summer enrichment program for our children. It was really wonderful to have staff available. We have 3 classrooms open, and we had 3 family service workers who were in the classroom supporting the teachers, making sure their emergency cards were filled out and all of that. So that offered a glimmer of light to me for the upcoming school year, that we'll have the staff that we need and we can support our teachers as they move forward. So with our summer enrichment program, it's primarily an outdoor program, and the kids have been so excited to come to school. It's from, we do Monday through Thursday, 9 to 1 o'clock. So it's been really great and excited for them. And then the last thing, with our early Head Start program, they are still in session because it's a year-round program. So the students end June 22nd, and then they'll start up again July 5th. And for the month of July, they'll come in for 3 days instead of the 5 days. So they'll do 7:45 to 3:15, and then on Mondays, the teachers will conduct home visits and do some professional development. So we have a nice program for the summer. And then we have, as I think I mentioned before in other reports, that we had, I think, 5 of our staff members to complete their child development associate degrees, certificates.
Awesome. Yay.
Yeah. really excited about that. So our staff is moving forward. I have two who are interested in pursuing their associate's degrees. So we did contact somebody from Oakland, Schoolcraft Community College. And so I spoke to somebody in the department, and she's going to set up a meeting with the dean and me and the two students. So we can, because they already have their child development associate, and they do have lots of credits toward a degree. So we want them to be able to expedite their associates and then work toward their bachelor's. And then we have another person who's actually working toward her bachelor's, so we've been able to provide tuition assistance to her. So we're really excited about that and what's going to happen going forward for the next year. So.
Awesome.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Oh, you were,
Oh, I'm sorry.
you were trying.
I'm sorry.
Oh, she said she yielded to you.
Okay, thank you. The kindergarten boot camp sounds so interesting. What is it? What would they be doing in that camp?
So each
Sounds so interesting.
Yeah, so it's a totally outdoor program, so they're really replicating what they do in the classroom outdoors. So they're focusing on the areas like language and literacy, science, social studies, math. So I know the first week they did a letter hunt outside. The kids had blankets and they had books and they were reading. They ate their lunches outside. So the next week would be math, the following week another theme. So it kind of aligns with what they've done during the school year as well. So just trying to get them ready for when they go to kindergarten. But it's been, the children love to be outside, so they love to explore. And we have this little, I think it's like a creek behind the school, so they've been able to explore that as well. Okay. But just fun time being outside.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have we been able to, through the chair,
Yes,
through the
ma'am.
superintendent,
You are.
have we been able to take advantage of any of the Teach scholarships through the Michigan AEYC for the staff you mentioned?
So I have one staff who's currently taking advantage of that, and that's something that I'm going to look into as well. So, yeah.
Because they'll pay up to the master's degree in early childhood education. So they'll assist with that. And then as far as the CDA, are we aligning that credential to the associate teachers or the lead teachers?
The associates.
The associate
And then we have
teachers.
some who had, we had one teacher who, actually, she had a bachelor's degree in another field, so she did this child development associate as well. And she has since moved to the family service worker position, but wanted to complete it so that she could
nice.
be equipped to speak to families and be knowledgeable about the curriculum and all that.
Okay, wonderful. If there's anything, Superintendent, I can do to assist in those Teach scholarships, please.
Absolutely. Thank you for sending that. We are excited that everyone is advancing their educational experience.
That's great.
One thing, Board President, if I may add.
Trustee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Trustee Joyce.
I apologize, Trustee Joyce. I was just going to add to the report the piece that Dr. Thompson mentioned about the students being outside, and I know that there was some additional information shared earlier relative to reports that we send out. When we receive reports relative to environmental conditions from our meteorologists that we hired by way of Oakland schools, we immediately respond. So when we received that information on that day and we began to put our systems in place, I was in contact with Dr. Thompson. We immediately provided our young scholars with masks, and we brought them back in on a more frequent basis to ensure that they were not out breathing in that poor air quality. So I did want to lift that into the conversation because I know that there was some other information shared with you today.
Trustee
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes, Dr. County, speaking of the children being outside during the boot camp, based on health and safety, what type of security do we have as far as the children being outside?
So we have a security guard that is in our building, and he's been instructed to, first of all, we do a playground safety inspection on a daily basis to make sure it's safe out there. And then as the kids are going out, we do monitor. So one of the administrators will go out there, and then the security guard makes his rounds out there as well.
After all, that is a very unique property there, being back off, from out, away from everything. So,
Put it on TV.
so we just need to make sure that based on health and safety, that our children are in good hands.
Oh, they are. Yeah, we know, we recognize we're kind of tucked in, but we have the security guard and then the admin team, we do monitor.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to Trustee Joyce for holding us accountable to ensure that we get this director's report, and we have you come up to the podium and tell all the good things. I know he is a constant and consistent participant in Policy Council, so I did just want to lift that because what you're doing is very important, and I think it puts a smile on everybody's face when we start talking about little people. So, thank you for that report. Trustees, did we have any other questions or comments for Dr. Thompson? Hearing none, thank you, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Board President, that concludes the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Green. So action items, we have the consent agenda, approval of minutes for May 9th, May 16th, and May 23rd. Trustees, do I have a motion to open and approve item A?
So moved.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, Board Secretary, would you please call for the vote?
Trustee Ware-Duval.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce.
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee Holloway.
Yes.
Trustee Bland.
Yes.
Trustee Belk. Unanimous.
Motion carried. Trustees, I'm going to go out of order just a little bit because as we spoke at our executive board meeting, and as you all are aware, many of the items under the information items were shared with us during the study session. So I am going to ask, before we approve items, action items B through F, that we look at information items A through M. These are all renewals of licenses. And as you can see, Dr. Green has listed where and what we will be using to fund these items.
Right.
So some of these will be ESSER $2, ESSER $3, I'm sorry. And then we have some title items, but we have spoken about these last study session. So I will ask that a motion be put on the floor first to
be separate.
You want me to, oh, yes,
That's
I
personnel.
apologize. I grouped the personnel action report with that. But if we could move to make items A through M of the information items actionable as well, what we can do is group items C through F, and then we can approve, if it be your pleasure, items A through M of the information items. Board Secretary, did I say that correctly?
I would recommend just one motion to move and open and approve.
Okay, sounds good to me.
So move.
Second.
Can you specify?
So we're putting the motion to open and approve information items A through M at this time. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. And it's been properly moved and supported by Trustee Joyce and Trustee Ware-Duval. Trustees, is there any discussion regarding information items A through M? Hearing none. Board Secretary, will you please call for the vote?
Trustee Belk.
Yes.
Trustee Bland.
Yes.
Trustee Holloway.
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee Joyce.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Ware-Duval.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you for that. Action item B, Report 61-108, Personnel Action Report.
Through the chair.
Yes,
If-
ma'am.
If you could just make a mention to the community, those who are watching and not following along with the agenda, that those items were all curriculum-based. I know you
Sure.
mentioned we went over them in study session, but if you could just make mention of that.
So, for the community that's watching at home, you may have heard me earlier when the infrastructure team begin their report, that we have been presented many of these items at our last study session. So because of our knowledge of what these items pertain to, and they are all curriculum and instructional driven, I ask that we open and approve these and make them actionable for this evening. Thank you, Board Secretary.
And Board President, if I may add, all of the items that you asked to move to action were discussed during the instructional infrastructure
Correct.
PowerPoint presentation shared with the community this evening, and it is included in the packet online if anyone at home wishes to review that PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Report 61-108, Personnel Action Report. Is there a motion to open and approve this?
So moved. Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Trustees, is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Okay.
To the chair.
Yes.
For number 1, is it a similar
Find the-
position?
Have
Like,
to
is it
find the
same?
report.
She's moving. Dr. Green is looking, we got a lot of stuff in here. She is looking.
Oh,
through
yes,
the-
it's a lateral. It's a lateral.
Okay.
The individual bid to go from one building to another building. Yes,
Understood.
yes.
And trustees, if you cannot find this report, it is after page 30. It's tucked in with our 56 pages of information.
We have a lot.
We do.
Thank you.
Because I didn't let Leslie know about one of those that he is secretary. Will you let her know that that individual has chosen to look at her calling to God, and she's chosen to leave based on wanting to expand her ministry?
This one, number 3.
3. Yes.
Trustees, is there any discussion, any more discussion regarding Report 61-108? Hearing none. Board Secretary, will you please call for the vote?
Trustee Belk? Yes. Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Weidebach?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you. Report 61-103 through 61-106, C, D, E, and F. These are the Savvis Science and Savvis Science Suite, along with Envision Math K through 5, and then the Professional Development Math and Science for fiscal year 24, all funded by ESSER $3. Is there a motion to open and approve?
I move that we open and approve reports 61-103 through 61-106.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, will you please call for the vote?
Trustee Weidebach?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you, that was quite efficient.
Great job
I appreciate
handling all
it.
of those items. That was a lot.
As we move to the rest of the information items, if we look at reports 61-122 and 61-123, that is N and O. Those are budget revisions. Dr. Green, would you be able to speak to those?
I will. Both of these items were addressed this morning during Policy Council. These are budget revisions that will be submitted to the Office of Head Start to ensure that we are able to keep our dollars in our district and request some carryover based on some funds that were not spent throughout the last year, due in part to the lack of staffing and the low enrollment.
Dr. Green, do these require any action this
They
evening?
I have a question.
Yes.
Did these, as discussed during the Policy Council, as we know, that's the governing body for Head Start, did they meet the requirements through that body?
They did. They were unanimously supported that we move forward with bringing them to you.
Okay.
Trustees, I ask that a motion be put on the floor to open and approve reports 61-122 and 61-123.
So moved.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion regarding these two items? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Wirdeball?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Unanimous.
Motion carried. I think we, as the trustees are all familiar with Report 61-124, this is an annual renewal for MASB. While we're speaking about MASB, I did want to lift something that Dr. Green spoke about earlier. Before I forget it, Jennifer Smith from MASB actually sent us a link to take action on House Bill 4354. So I just want to let everyone know that that is in your email, and it takes a quick minute for you to click the button that says take action, fill in your information, so they can have those signatures documented and they can take them to the Capitol on our behalf. So I just wanted to lift that for everyone. Trustees, I ask that we open and approve Report 61-124. This is the MASB membership renewal. As you can see, this comes from the general fund, and this is an annual renewal.
I move that we open and approve Report 61-24. Or 61-124.
I support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Wirdeball?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you. Dr. Green, Report 61-125, naming of professional services.
Thank you, Board President. This is an annual report brought before the board for internal controls for the purposes of budgeting. You'll find it under the 6,000s in our policy, and this is the professional services that we as a district use. When we have professional services assigned to the district, it is not required that we put them out for bid every year. Many of the names that you will see listed below are recurrent names that we have. We have our auditors, our attorneys, our architects, our construction managers, and our owner's rep. These individuals have come to you individually on other action items for adoption specific to that of their contract, but these are the naming services stating that these are the individual corporations that we will use for the fiscal year of '24. You will see here two new names. That being Fannie Howie's being recommended for our Book of Standards under architects. That will standardize all of the equipment throughout our entire district so that we do not have 4 different types of HVAC systems in any one of our buildings as we currently have with our comprehensive high school. We will have a standard. We will also have a schedule of which to maintain all of the things that we have in our district. And then you'll also see our owner's rep, Plant Moran Cressa, which we have our representative here this evening. Under architect for bulk renovations in K-8 buildings, we have French and Associates. We also have Barton Mallow listed as bulk renovations for K-8 buildings. The reason that you do not see them for 912 is because we discussed having some additional individuals put bids in for our 912, given that we are going to look at a new development and new construction of our 912 buildings. So you don't see them listed today, but there will be recommendations coming forward to you for our 912 campuses, our athletic campuses, and that of our ancillary buildings such as JWE.
Thank you. Does this need to be made actionable this evening?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustees, if it is your wish, we can put a motion on the floor to open and approve Report 61-125, naming of professional services.
So moved.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
To be clear, that was a motion to open and approve.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Trustee Ware Duval?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you. Report 61-126, 61-127, and 61-128. These are all infrastructure items. 126 is MacArthur Emergency Plumbing vac truck, and that's from the general fund. Dr. Green, I know this is something that you were notified of this morning.
Yes, and
If you would
actually,
speak on
Board
that.
President, I did go ahead and approve this per our board policy because it was an emergency situation due to the corrosion and the aging of the pipe. There was some sewerage detected in the crawl space at MacArthur. There was a stench, and when we have raw sewage, it becomes an issue for the district for health and safety. So I did approve our operations team to bring out the trucks and start the excavation of that sewerage at MacArthur. So if the board would be so kind as to support that recommendation to move forward, I'd be grateful because we do have them on site to make it safe for our young scholars.
And then we have report 61-127, which is also MacArthur, and this will make a lot of people happy.
Oh,
The K-8
absolutely.
parking lot repairs bid package, which comes
Trustee
out
Belk,
of
don't jump
capital
up. Don't jump up.
improvement.
That
Dr.
is coming
Green?
out of our capital improvement fund. That is to repay the parking lot at MacArthur. We were trying to wait until we had the new school built. Unfortunately,
can't
we
wait.
cannot wait any longer. I do believe I lost a vehicle or two, at least a tire or two, driving through that
I may
parking
have
lot.
lost a
So,
child in
yes.
one of those
So
holes.
if we
Jesus.
would be so kind as to ensure that our students as well as our families are safe as they travel through that parking lot. And then also thinking of the students, the scholars on the other side of the campus, our university students, they are new drivers and they have to drive around that building to get to their parking lot. And oftentimes they don't know how to navigate large craters.
Will mess a
and will
parent's
mess up a
car
parent's
up.
car. So
they
I know
tear it up.
it is bad, and we want to make sure that they're all safe as well. So that is that one. The other one that we have coming from my operations hat, you heard me mention Fannie Howie was selected for the Book of Standards, and that will standardize everything that we have in the district. It's approximately an 8-week process. They will speak with stakeholders. They will speak with all those involved with the operations of our buildings to ensure that they understand what we have in our district. But more importantly to us, they will make recommendations on how we standardize all the equipment that we have in our district moving forward.
That's awesome. Trustees, are there any questions?
Board President.
Yes.
On the, Dr. Green, on the repair work for MacArthur, how long is that gonna?
The sewerage piece, 2 days.
2 days. Okay.
2 days, yes.
Trustee?
On report 61-126, the impact amount and cost proposal is different, slightly different, so just wondering which one it was.
And that's page 60, trustees, in your.
So the impact amount is $15,500. If you look at the proposal on the left-hand side, and then the impact amount at the top was $15,500. It did not transfer over because, as Board President mentioned, this came to us today, and in one's haste, we left off a 5, so forgive us.
That's okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustees, is there any other discussion?
I just have a quick statement through the chair.
Sure.
Dr. Green, I just wanted to say, based on Report 6126 and how it was coming to you quick, fast, and in a hurry, I do thank you for taking the stance on taking care of the children and acting quickly and responsibly before a different narrative was written in most
Thank you.
situations. But thank you.
Trustees, yes, Trustee Belk.
For the chair, just wondering how long the project at MacArthur is going to last for the parking lot.
The parking lot piece, well, let's see. Where's Dan Anderson? Hey, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
How long would that project take?
Month and a half.
Month and a half.
So when school starts back in the
That is
fall.
the intent.
Okay, thank you.
And just to be clear, and I'm glad you lifted that month and a half, what does that look like for those who have practices on that campus? Or we all know some of our parents use that parking lot to teach their kids how to drive and park and things like that. So is it off limits for that time?
Yes, we are going to barricade that parking lot,
Okay.
and we are also going to put up signage as we have, particularly at Eisenhower. Anytime we have an active construction site, we are asking all people to refrain from visiting those sites. Even with our visitation to those sites, we have on safety goggles, we have on hard hats, we have to comply with all of the standards to ensure one's safety. Furthermore, many of the individuals practicing on that field do not have permission to practice on those fields, and that's a liability issue for the district. So we do ask that people refrain during that time, particularly when they see the active construction sites occurring.
My ask would be that one of my favorite names that has gotten so well acquainted with my email, Ms. Alexandra Cash, please send out one of your very kind letters to the community, just letting them know that construction will be taking place. And if we could provide the dates to the community, and if we could possibly provide that information to the city of Lathrop Village and the city of Southfield, that would be great.
Absolutely, and per that request, we will also send out that information relative to the parking lot at KLC. That has already been approved. So we will have a lot of construction happening in our district throughout the summer as well as into the school year. On tomorrow evening, actually, I'm having an on the screen with Dr. Green for the Adler parents to walk them through that building being relocated next year and that becoming an active construction site, because that will impact that entire community as well.
I do have one last question because I've received some communication from the community about the landscaping of those campuses. So will the landscaping be at all, our crews be affected by that month and a half? Will they still be able to come out and maintain the lawn?
They will definitely be keeping our lawn maintained. I will say that the work that our landscape company has done at Eisenhower alone has been nothing short of remarkable. We have more acreage than we knew existed because they cut back all of what was overgrown there. We have a pathway to the community, and I had no idea we even had that pathway to the community because I couldn't see it. So it's definitely a beautiful sight to see the team working in tandem to take care of what it is that we need to take care of.
Thank you. Trustees, if it be your desire, if we could put a motion on the floor to open and approve Report 61-126, 61-127, and 61-128.
So moved.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Trustees, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Tell us how you really feel.
Call you again. I'll come back to you. Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Werdebaugh?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried.
I'm even receiving emojis from community members celebrating and dancing, saying they want to vote yes. Thank you, trustees.
Thank you. Information item U, financial report, will come from our board treasurer, Armani Johnson, who will also give sustainability committee update and a finance committee update at this time. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Perfect.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
To the board, you should have your monthly bill disbursements and board report in your email. Are there any questions about that before I dive into our first finance committee meeting?
I have none.
Fantastic. So the Finance Committee met on June 1st, 2023. Board Treasurer Johnson, myself, Trustee Joyce, and Mark Ingram were in attendance. We started with some re-education about the Finance Department and the functions of each job. Employees in the Finance Department work in a lot of different areas like payroll, purchasing, grant accounting, state and federal programs, food service, and accounts payable. Mr. Ingram then gave us an overview of the district's budgetary process and how that aligns with the state's process. Truth in Taxation, which is our budget hearing, is going to be on June 27th, as well as our study session to actually adopt the budget. Out of this meeting came the following things. The Finance Committee agreed that going forward, the district should take a more transparent and collaborative approach to adopting our budget by engaging the community, board members, employee unions, and other relevant stakeholders. We plan to work together to draft a plan to implement this for the next budget cycle. Going forward, we recommend developing a calendar for budget adoption that outlines every step in the process. So when the House and Senate release their budgets, dates for different public forums and stakeholder meeting dates, as well as regular board updates so that we're all in the loop throughout the entire year and not just with one presentation in June. And we wanted to ask if the trustees would like a lunch and learn prior to budget adoption in order to ask additional questions, gain understanding, and/or give input. So I'll pause there to see if there's interest.
Yes, sure.
Perfect. So we'll be sure to get that scheduled. And lastly, it was brought to our attention that food service has a fund balance of around $500,000 to $600,000 that the district is trying to figure out how to spend on student nutrition. Because we are receiving bond dollars to upgrade all of our facilities, they don't need to invest that money into that exactly. So I have an idea that I'd like to flesh out with Mr. Ingram and the board. And I'll just say what that is. I'd like to explore potentially improving the quality of our food and getting it from sustainable sources and free-range farms because the money is there to do it. Any questions?
I have a question. Was there any conversation around zero-based budgeting to support the schools? Some time ago, we talked about
That's what we have.
building.
If I may just jump in, that is the current practice that we utilize, and that is to have the process at the local level. And all of the stakeholders that Treasurer Johnson mentioned should be actively involved at their respective building levels, and then that bubbles up to that of the central office level. So we take our recommendations directly from the schools. But making it more transparent is what I think I heard Treasurer Johnson mention. But we do use zero-based budgeting in our district.
Okay, great. Okay. And also, was there any conversation, or do we want to establish a practice, or maybe even include it in our policy for board reimbursements? I know I'm horrible at it. Every day, every time I'm about to come to a meeting, I walk out the door and I say, I forgot my receipts again. So I just told myself that by the end of the fiscal year, is there any thought around maybe even putting it in the policy, so that once the fiscal year is done, any reimbursements that you didn't submit, you just...
I think we did add that to the policy last year,
I know we were talking about it, but I don't remember.
I do think we added that to the
the
policy
language.
last year. I think it says you have to do it within 60 days, and then at the end of the fiscal year. I will check into that and get back.
And Treasurer Johnson, can you circle back with Dr. Green on that and perhaps send us an email as to how that will work? I would ask that for the free range and sustainable farming, that piece, is there a cost model that has been researched to look at any schools that have done it, what the cost model looks like over a time period, right, with our budget, right? So that cost model would be one of $500,000 per se, and it would basically talk about what the logistics look like, what the actual supply chain looks like, and how that would work, and could we sustain that after we spend the surplus, the robust amount that we have now. So that would be my ask before we adopt anything.
For sure. So when I say we're going to explore it, I mean we're going to work together to create that proposal to bring to everyone.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I was just hopeful in that exploration that a cost model be provided. Okay.
Board
Yes,
President,
ma'am.
if I may, listening to Secretary Smith-Thomas made me think of my most recent stint with College Board and all the receipts and all the paper. There is an app that I've seen that will take the receipt. If you take a photo of it, it will digitize it and put it into a spreadsheet that may be considered for future expenses. It's something worth exploring, and we'll look into that, because I too experienced that with College Board, having the receipts.
The last
bunch
time
of
I had
receipts
to
and-
submit receipts, I was told it had to be the original receipt also.
So I'll speak with Plant Moran about that. So we may, at least we would have a start on it, if you could have it digitized and then maybe an envelope and put them all in the envelope. I'm thinking out loud and making my thinking visible. It's a lot. It's a lot. So just something for us to consider, but I will speak with our auditors about that as well and see if it's something we could do.
Yeah, okay. That would be great. Was there anything else for the finance committee?
I just wanted to say that was a great meeting we had with Mr. Ingram. I came real close to asking Mr. Ingram, is he a part of the mindful program? Because he's
Well,
so
he's a Southfield graduate,
He is
so
a
that's, what would we expect?
He was so he was so mild-mannered and such.
There he is, at
so-
the back door.
there he is. And very knowledgeable, and so we had a great meeting.
He is awesome.
Sustainability.
Yes. The Sustainability Committee met on May 19th, 2023. Board Treasurer Johnson, myself, Trustee Joyce, and Trustee Holloway were present. Together, we reviewed the 100% Clean Energy School Districts Handbook, which was created by the Sierra Club to help school districts in their transition to 100% clean energy. And it emphasizes the importance of fighting climate change when it comes to the health of our students. So when we talk about, forest fires, it's because it's been really hot and dry and climate change. Where was I? So our mission is to transition Southfield Public Schools to become a 100% clean energy school district. And the first step in this process is to pass a board resolution that solidifies our commitment and sets a target date for full implementation. The Sustainability Committee will work collaboratively to draft this resolution and then work with a variety of stakeholders, including students, to draft a plan for implementation. What came out of this meeting was we would ask that our new operations director join in on these committee meetings in addition to or instead of James Jackson. He has some experience with sustainability work and would be value added. We recommend there be an emphasis on sustainability as we design, upgrade, and build our facilities, ensuring that new buildings and renovations are designed for low impact on the environment or for the health of our community, and enhancing the quality of the air that our students are breathing in these buildings. And we wanted to request a study session with our architects on what environmental upgrades are taking place. We would like to make sure that the team is being intentional in keeping sustainability top of mind as we move forward with these projects. And lastly, we'll be bringing individuals in for a study session on all things related to electric school buses. Any questions?
Good job. I would like to speak to the community about our community use committee. It is one that has had a lot of traction. So that committee will be meeting on Friday. I do know that we have some community members and some stakeholders already in mind to bring on that committee once we have structured some of our priorities. And we also would like to bring in, as we build this out, some of our leaders from both cities, Lathrop Village and the city of Southfield. So I look forward to hearing the next report. And thank you, Treasurer Johnson. That was awesome. And thank you, Trustee Joyce, for your participation. And thank you, Mr. Ingram, for always being available. And Mr. Jackson, thank you for your short-lived tenure on the Sustainability Committee. Next, we have public participation. If you wish to address the board regarding a school-related issue that has not yet been resolved by school administration, please submit a comment card immediately. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are asked not to mention any persons by name. Complaints concerning employees pursuant to Board Policy 9130 should be brought to the attention of school principals or other administrators before coming to the Board of Education. Your cooperation is appreciated. Ms. Sayers.
I'm just coming back up here because my issues have still not been addressed. I did hear the acknowledgement concerning the school bus and the bus for fuel. I made this complaint, and maybe if someone had took the time out to personally acknowledge my complaints that I had been making, the 9 of them, to the district concerning the things that could not be addressed by the schools, then you would have actual factual information from the source concerning the matter. Now, you know, on the buses, they have cameras. The bus administrator, the person who's over the buses, reviewed the camera and agreed with my position that the driver should not have had my kids pulled over at the gas station for 45 minutes because they do have fuel there. So her having them at the gas station was totally out of line. And I feel like the response to me was tone deaf. It was impersonal, and it was really not mindful at all. And I've come to this place many times. I'm not unprofessional, and I feel it's very out of line as well for the district to create a handbook for the parents when they don't even have a policy, a complaint policy for themselves. We talk about being responsible for ourselves, but how can you regulate parents and you can't regulate the staff, you know, with some sort of standard as far as this is how we do things? And I understand that things may have become a mess due to the COVID, but when you got situations that come to you, because I've seen there hasn't been many cases that you guys have had, so I know that I'm one of the few, and for it to just go unacknowledged is 1,000% unacceptable. And I understand the grandiose nature and the, you know, picayune nature to want to defend yourself against what I'm saying, but if you actually looked into it, then you would understand, and you would put yourself in my shoes and say, okay, this is a mother. I don't have time for this, you know. Like I said before, you know, I own properties and I run businesses in this city. So I'm taking time, you know, you guys have a grand gesture of people in a support system. I have to fund my own business. So I'm taking time out of my business to be here to make sure that my kids are being properly treated like human beings in a school. And I don't feel, you know, they want to say, oh, somebody said or something about my passion, and that's totally beside the point. If that's what you're taking out of what I'm saying, you're totally distracted, because what I feel is vulnerable, that I have to send my kids to a place where the adults there can't self-regulate enough to acknowledge where they're wrong and make adjustments. At least acknowledge the parent that's taking the time out of their schedule, because I don't work here. It's not my job to be professional when I come here. It's my job to come to you with the issue and for you to acknowledge it, and that has not been done. And I am not pleased. Even through this meeting, you've acknowledged things concerning what I've said, but you haven't taken any opportunity to acknowledge it mindfully, and I don't appreciate it, and that's coming from a therapist. Thank you, ma'am.
For the good of the order, does anyone have anything?
Through the chair?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to kind of swing back around real quick, because I know it's late, and I appreciate everyone who's been here through this long meeting. But there was made mention on how Southfield needs to rewrite our narrative and all the things that were offered. We have our entire team here through our curriculum team, and thank you again. But as a family, as a people who work in our district and are part of our district, it starts here. So we need to brag and boast upon ourselves and explain that to people outside of our own boundaries on how good we are and the type of student that we produce. And I've said that before, and I really need to drill it into the people that are not necessarily on the right side of the fence to be on the right side of the fence for us and for us to grow our district. Thank you.
First of all, let me just state, pardon my tardiness.
I did let everyone know.
Thank you, Board President. It's dance recital time, y'all.
Oh, yes, understood.
It's dance recital. But so, just in case this was already mentioned, graduation. Yeah, so very pleasant. And I think the Friday went well. This was the first time we've had it on a Friday. But it was a pleasure. It was really nice to see all of the families, come out and really just things run smoothly. So that was really, really pleasant to see. Also, a couple weeks ago, I had the pleasure of attending Thompson's IB Community Service Capstone event. Even though it was extremely hot on this particular day. But it was really cool to see and talk and spend time with the scholars as they presented their community service projects. And I encouraged them, and many of them extended their services, the different projects they took on, they extended them within their school. I shared with them and encouraged them to perhaps plan time. Well, these are 8th graders, but maybe they can pass it on to the rest of the students coming after them, but to plan time to bring those projects to the board level so that the greater community can get involved, because there were a wide range of community projects these scholars engaged in, and they were front and center with sharing, and they had so much passion, and they had their presentation, and they were so professional, and they spoke so well and articulate about what they had done and what they learned, and how they involved their school community. And so I know that is an experience that's unique to the IB school, but I do encourage taking a look at that amongst the other schools as well, and as a way to incorporate that even at the middle school level. So that was really exciting. And just wanted to let the district know that I and the board, of course, and superintendent, that now that I'm wrapping up my don't look at me like that.
I think I know what's
Where's the mindfulness? Where are the balls?
Where's the ball, child? Where's the ball?
Why? This is not a bad thing. No, I'm not resigning.
Oh, okay.
No, that's
I was going to say, what just happened?
Gonna do that right now.
No.
Okay.
I'm wrapping up my school year.
Oh, okay. And put it back.
I will be out and about. I'm looking forward. Thank you. Well, thank you.
What you wanted to do.
Nice to feel loved. But no, I'll be out and about the rest of this week in the district, attending as many of the events that have come up on the calendar. My gosh.
I mean, you have been saying you didn't know what you was
That's
doing.
next
I didn't know
year.
what was
That's
happening.
a whole nother year from now. Anyway. Okay.
Well, thank you for, thank you, Ms. Lightsey, for the stress balls. They came in handy. I have one thing for the good of the order, and then Trustee Joyce. King Twitty, our student board representative from Southfield A&T, asked me to read this to the board and the community. He said, "I would just like to thank you and the board members for an amazing experience I've had serving as your board representative. I'm forever thankful for the support you all have given me, and best believe I'll be back for the board meetings for the next school year." I read the card and I couldn't stop smiling. Thank you for giving me a second chance, King. So I thought that was extremely nice. And I must say, I hope that as we continue the student board rep journey, that they just keep getting better and better. And I love the engagement. So I'm very excited for King and Cassidy's open houses, and they've made us very proud. So he asked me to read that to all of you, and so that's what I did without crying.
We produce good students, excellence.
Absolutely.
We do.
Trustee Joyce.
Yes, I I have a concern, and I wanted to address it to Dr. Green and Mr. Jackson and Mrs. Cash, and that is, the other day I had a conversation with a family member who was the first cousin, that's pretty close, who shared with me that they have children at a school in Southfield, but it's not a Southfield public school. And the problem is that we have a lot of schools, and I'll say charter, that are communicating with our Southfield and Lathrop, that they're a Southfield public school, and they're not. And so I'd just like to know, what in the world can we do to stop that?
So we have issued, Board President, if I may, we have through our legal counsel issued cease and desist orders to several of the schools within our community that are proclaiming to be a part of Southfield Public Schools or using a play on words for the community. I will speak with you offline to find out which school you're referencing, and we will issue a cease and desist order by way of our legal counsel to them as well.
Okay, because after 30 minutes of having a conversation with her, she's now
Understanding that they're not.
and ready to.
Absolutely. And we welcome our babies home. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right.
I think Trustee Belknap.
Trustee Bell?
Just wanted to piggyback on that, because we are here in this district receiving tons of districts outside, trying to probe for our children. I received several at home. What are we as a district doing to start to communicate what we have available? The new curriculum that was just presented was excellent. All of those things, I know our board president talked about that as well. I would just love to see more marketing in our hands, because we have piles of it from neighboring districts.
Absolutely, and that's a conversation that we had with the marketing team earlier today. We do have a series of electronic billboards that will be going up. We have buses that will have the wrap with Southfield Public Schools on it. We have commercials that are going to be on the radio throughout the summer. What am I missing, Ms. Cash? Because I know there was the Southfield Sun, we have some things. We were in the big book of schools, so we are definitely getting that information out. We are also having our phenomenal back-to-school fair on Thursday, August 17th, 2023, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. We always have the cable television here broadcasting that, and we encourage all to come out and enjoy that activity as well. But we are putting a concerted effort into that. Some of my colleagues are not being mindful of how they advertise their school districts, and it's really unfair because we pride ourselves on being respectful of others, and if we begin to encroach on their territory, they would cry foul. Let me just say that kindly. Well, you said it best, but nevertheless, you are going to see a lot of Southfield Public Schools in our community and in other communities, because we have the absolute best. We are providing the absolute best, and our students are the absolute best. And I will stand on that any day that ends in Y.
I did ask, and I believe that, did you count all the days it's ended in Y? Okay, that's a good one.
There is one more date, if I may, Board President,
Yes,
I'd like to
yes.
mention, because Trustee Smith-Thomas mentioned the graduation being on Friday this year. And for the class of 2024, please know that we have your date secured for
Okay.
Friday, June 7th, 2024, back at the Aretha
Friday,
Franklin Amphitheater.
June 7th, 2024. Call your family in Savannah, Georgia. Call your caterers, get your tents. That was a huge complaint that people couldn't plan. You have a little under a year, community to get it all together and good.
And Board President, the other thing that came up in conversation with a lot of the parents, how do we determine how many tickets we give out for graduation? So we know that we have a venue. We know that the venue, if it were completely empty, seats a certain amount of students. We also have to take into account the number of graduates we have, how many seats they will fill. Then we have to the number of students that are eligible to graduate. That's what we project off of, not the number of students that are actually graduating. Then we have to take into account the number of staff that we have available to facilitate the commencement ceremony. Then we have to take into account the number of staff from the theater that are available to help facilitate everything. And of course, safety is always a big issue. So crowd control and all of those factors play into the conversation. A parent asked if I would consider selling additional tickets. I told her absolutely, we will have that conversation later. But again, all of it is predicated on keeping the entire area safe while we are there in a neighboring city and on the waterfront. So thank you to Mr. Jackson, who made sure the Coast Guard did an extra visit while we were there, and the Sheriff's Department, their aquatics department did a tour while we were there also. So thanks to everyone that made that day a reality for us.
President?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Dr. Green, this venue that we're at now, are they charging us by the number of seats that are occupied?
They charge us by the number of hours that we spend at the venue,
Okay,
and so.
Because my observation is we had a lot of empty seats, a lot.
So we had more with one than the other, and we talked
Right,
about that.
sure.
But we also, to ensure that everyone is able to be there in real time, we
Yeah.
stream it live in real time.
Okay.
So for those families that have a lot of relatives that are out of state, we try to make sure that they have another vehicle by way of watching it happen in real time. And then we also have the video available for people that want to watch it later also. So we are looking at adjusting the amount of seats. Again, safety is at the forefront of what we do, and we could have a packed house and it could look like a concert that's down there, a music concert, but that would be something that would be a little bit beyond our control in maintaining the decorum that we expect of a commencement ceremony. So we are looking to increase the number of tickets. However, we have to take all those factors into account.
Lastly, just a reminder, as we announce our future meetings, we will be taking a recess for the month of July. I think everybody has earned it. We will be back in August. Our future meetings are Tuesday, June 27th, Truth and Taxation at 5:30, and then we will have our special meeting, which is our budget hearing at 6 p.m. I look forward to seeing everybody at all the events we have going on up until the last day of school, which is Friday, June 16th. Thank you all for all that you do. Have a good night. Meeting is adjourned at 9:53.